With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
If you really like this episode, please support our podcast by going to patreon.com/truecrimewives and get lots of great extras. On the Good Wife's Guide to True Crime, we discuss crimes that some may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
I want to talk about the night of the murder. Tell me in your own words what happened that night.
Well, really, my mother and I had got into an argument 2 days before, and it was about my feeding tube. I'm like, I no longer need this feeding tube. Can we please have it removed? And she said no. And I had an upcoming surgery, and I didn't want to have it, so I asked her, please tell the doctor I don't need this surgery. I've had it 20 times before. Why do we have to have it again? And she's like, there's nothing I can do about it. The doctor wants it. And so I became very numb to plan B. And I talked to Nick. He had me talk to Victor, who initially was the one that was going to do the murder. And he was like, ask Victor, please. And I said, Victor, will you please come kill my mother for me, because I can't do it myself.
Tonight, I want to caution you the text messages we are about to read are not for the faint of heart. I can sum them up in a few words: juvenile, creepy, and strange. They clearly show the warped minds both Gypsy and Nick have. When I first got them, I had not seen the interrogation video, and I wouldn't for several years. Reading them first before that video, I had a different perspective on them. I originally felt very disturbed by Nick's role in these messages, but the more and more we've investigated this case, I feel less disturbed by him and much more disturbed by Gypsy. These messages show a very dark side of her, one that I was not really prepared for, and neither was our team. She's very manipulated and calculated in these messages. She leads much more than he does, and it's clear she really did keep the murder at the forefront of the conversation. The text messages paint a very unhealthy and concerning codependency between Nick and Gypsy. One I have seen carry over into their more current relationships, and not just romantically. The flippant way they speak about this whole thing is jarring. It's scary, and honestly, knowing what we know now, I can say I really don't think either of these two people should be walking our streets again, ever. We apologize for the length of this episode. We did not feel like we should break it up into two, so it's a very long episode, and we hope that you'll listen all the way to the end.
folks, it's time to grab your glass of wine because the good wives, Fancy, Colleen, and Christina, are about to serve up another true crime case. Tonight we're going to be talking about the climax of this case when we start talking about Gypsy and Nick's relationship, how they met, how he manipulated her and she manipulated him, and the details of their budding relationship. And then we'll start talking about what she told him about her medical history and how her home life was. Then we'll take you through those specific text messages that just some sex-crazed teenagers just back and forth. And then we're going to talk to you about the actual murder. So it's a lot to cover tonight. I don't know. This is part of it where I'm really excited to talk about things, because I feel like this is the crux of what everybody wants to know, and the text messages. God, those are they're so interesting. And the thing with it is we only have just a little bit of the text messages. Most of them are still being held for the trial that for Nick's appeal, and so we only have from I think it's May on. Yeah. Yep. So, which is like a month. Yeah. So it's only like a month before, and they're still really crazy. It's you can definitely see this plot of what they were planning on doing unfold. But I'd sure love to see the first 2 years of this relationship. Oh, it's probably so disturbing. Definitely. I mean, they met on a Christian mingle or Christian dating for free.com. I mean, what an odd place for these two people to meet. One who's pretty much calls himself the devil, and then innocent girl trying to meet a boy, and she just goes off the deep end. We don't think she's that innocent at this point. I mean, nope, especially once you hear these text messages. No, these text messages are so telling. What do you think?
And they're extremely disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back and forth between sex crazed horn doggy teenagers, and it just they're very juvenile in how they think about sex and talk to each other about it. And then it goes, and then the next message will flip and it'll be very strange and mature and littered with a strange obsession with BDSM, which is not a normal BDSM relationship by any means. No, it's all very much controlling and
very toxic.
Very toxic in it, but it's not even, if you think about normal BDSM relationships, there is amount of control, there is an amount of, give and take, but a lot of that, honestly, that lies in the submissive and not really the person that's supposed to be, the top. It's usually more control by the person that's being the sub. And this is very odd. It's an odd way of doing things. I mean, I think he was looking really for just a sex slave, not a real relationship. It's just such a strange relationship. Very manipulative. Get your ass to the door and be quiet. And then there's the manipulation that comes in, I mean, you got one saying, I'm going to commit suicide if you don't answer me right this minute. And I mean, the manipulation on both sides was just outrageous.
And I'm excited to start. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think you see it on both sides. Like when people describe them as the perfect storm, it really was the perfect storm coming together because both of them had very manipulative qualities. They knew it was almost like they fed off of each other, very codependent. And it was, I don't know, like a lot of guilt. It seemed like a lot of guilt tripping. Like
on both sides
each of them trying to make the other one feel bad, and it was just like a back and forth of guiltiness, making each other feel guilty is very strange.
Yeah.
They pumped each other up enough, and their hormones and feelings and just intense relationship for some people who have never only met like once. And they get up to that point where they kill her mom, and then it kind of comes crashing down where she's like, he's weird, he's freak, this is probably not going to work. And you'll hear it in the text messages because she's like, I will never leave you, I love you, never, I'll always love you. And then we're here at present day and she's like, no. But he's like, I still love her. Like it's messed up.
It's an obsession. I mean, it's definitely obsession on his side. Definitely very manipulative, like you said, on both. They kind of fed off each other. I mean, we'll get into it tonight. You guys will hear a lot. We're going to read the text messages. And we'll even read some of the text messages between him and other people that he interacted with. A couple, one was considered his best friend. Another one was a relationship that he had prior to Gypsy. So we'll talk a lot about all of that. And I mean, even Gypsy says that one of those girls that was a girlfriend from before he met Gypsy even called and warned her that he was a very weird person and that he was super creepy and scary. And, I mean, and we've got even if you think about the McDonald's thing, like I had not seen the actual charges on that and everything until just recently. I finally got the actual police report for that McDonald's incident, and it's super strange. Like, it's not just what you guys would think of. It wasn't just as simple as, oh, he was some disabled kid who, was caught doing something that he shouldn't have been doing at McDonald's. No, it was really strange, and it should have been a warning sign to his family, and it wasn't. And that's another reason why we ended up where we ended up. And we'll get into that, so.
There's probably other warning signs from his past when he was a kid growing up. He has the tendencies to be a real, sadomasochist predator.
I mean, I'm sure if somebody was paying attention to him, for a significant part of his young years, I'm sure there would have been a lot of red flags that were noticed. But I think part of the problem is that he was never given the proper care and attention.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his mom was allegedly used drugs while she was even pregnant with him. So no care there. I think he was highly ignored. We've talked about that, and Diana talks about that in the bonus episode that we did with her about the psychological things that we noticed in this case. It's just like you said. Yeah, I think there were markers and warnings on both sides, and they were just largely ignored.
When he goes to his dad from his mom. Now here's his dad who, instead of stepping up and giving him that care, his dad says, well, I'm taking you off this medicine because I don't believe in this. So now you're not going to have any medication.
Right.
So it was like from the frying pan into the fire, he went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And his dad still to this day convinces him that he should not take medication.
We even see that in the text messages where he tells Gypsy, like, well, if I allow you to take a certain medication, do you think it would help you? So you can tell that it's in him, like, well, medication is not good, so I would have to make like a special exception for you to take that medication if you think it would really help you.
Like, don't take.
Really strange.
Yeah, don't take your medication that is for, your muscular dystrophy or for your seizures. No, don't take that.
I love to give you permission.
I got to give you permission. Granted, I mean, she didn't need any of it anyway, but it's just kind of funny for him to say that, like,
And then the reasoning is like, well, if I allow you, do you think it will help you a lot? So, if she said yes, it was like, okay, well, then I'll allow you to take it. But if you don't think it'll help a lot, then I'm not going to allow it.
Right. That is an odd way of putting it. I would say that is a very odd way of putting it. But I mean, he's expressed this now too, like I said, that his father has still encouraged him, that he doesn't believe in medication, which is one of the reasons why I was like, well, then I would never advocate for him to come out, because let's say they get him straight inside and then he comes out and then his dad takes him off and he's like, I don't need the medication anymore. Then what happens? You can't force him unless he's in some sort of like, home for him to be forced to take the medication, so
he would totally come out and find wherever Gypsy is, whether she's changed her name, which she probably should,
right?
But he would find her because he is obsessed with her.
Well, yeah, he's still convinced that they should be together,
right? And so he would do some terrible things if he were to come out.
I agree. I don't think it would be the last of him that we would see in some sort of violent capacity. And that's sad, because I really do feel like he had a chance to, get help and he wouldn't have been like this. But I just feel like, again, just as much as she fell through every crack, so did he, and that's, it's sad, but it's the truth. And as much as you would like it to be something else and that you would love for him to be able to have a life outside of prison, I just don't see that as being a possibility. I just really don't.
Not at this point. He doesn't show the remorse or the control or the understanding, comprehension.
No, well, he said that he was going to do it again, that he would do it again, that he would like to do it again.
Yeah,
right.
He just do it differently this time.
Right. Right.
Which is just red flag.
And there's so many red flags in what he actually wanted to do with this murder. I mean, the way that the murder goes down, it's not just a regular I'm saving my girlfriend from being tortured kind of murder. It's very vicious and it's super crazy, and not just the stabs, but the way that he tried, basically almost decapitated her. That took a lot of work with the knife that he had, and beyond that, like him saying that he wanted to rape her dead body, and those are not normal thought processes, even in the realm of I'm trying to save my girlfriend. That is sexual proclivities that he has that are very scary, and that's kind of what we saw with the McDonald's incident, and we'll talk about that tonight. The McDonald incident, he was not just watching regular porn, he was watching rape porn. He felt if he watched rape porn, then he wouldn't go out and rape. So
he's having those thoughts.
Thoughts. Okay, guys, well, it's going to be a wild ride tonight as we talk through all of this. So exciting to have you here tonight, and let's get going.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. In every episode, since we're the Good Wives, we won't just be dishing true crime. We also want to serve up one of our favorite recipes. So here's the Cajun Mama Thai with this week's Tasty Delight.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Thai, with another great recipe. So, as you all know, we're winding up this case, and we want to get into Wisconsin so that we can finish up the Gypsy case and move on to other interesting cases. I did some research. I found 2 things out about the state of Wisconsin. They're known for 2 things: cheese and beer, which are my 2 favorite things. So I went researching for a good recipe. I found this recipe. Wisconsin's Natives Beer and Cheese Soup. Can't wait to share it with you.
So let's start off, guys, here talking about how they met. So, I mean, Gypsy had been doing she tried a couple of times with a couple of guys in the community, the Comic-Con community. Older guys, a lot older guys, like 30s, 40s.
Which is creepy because she looks like she's 7.
Right. But, I kind of get that idea. I understand the mentality of what she was thinking. Like, her dad is not around, so she's got daddy issues. And she's looking for someone to take care of her. And like, I think that like older guy, I think she really thought like an older guy would stand up to her mom.
Yeah. A little more respect and control, but like a safe control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that Gypsy, as much as Nick was into the BDSM community, I think Gypsy was looking for that type of relationship because she doesn't know how to have a regular relationship where she's not controlled. We've even seen that in her relationships currently, very controlling. And we'll talk about that a little more when we get into present day. But I think she's looking for that type of relationship. But she ends up on Christian dating for free.com, which I had never heard of before. So
I heard of Christian Mingle.
I've heard of Christian Mingle. Like, I just think that, I don't know. Do you guys think that's an odd thing that she would have been on? Like,
well, I don't know if she thought maybe it was safer because of religion.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Different. I mean, but she probably could have met a safer guy if she had went on Craigslist.
Right.
I think it was part of the fairy tale. I think her and Dee Dee went to church, so I think in her mind it was a nice Christian gentleman who's going to be my Prince Charming, and he's going to save me.
And that's anything but what she got, which is odd for him to be on that because, I mean, he had other dating profiles, all very scary. Some, like, there was one that was like cat. I think that like Nick had other profiles on other types of sites, and none of them would indicate that he would have a Christian one. I mean, there was like casualhumper.com. There was like looking for Asian girls, something or other, which was like, I guess, mostly mail order bride shit, where he thought he was going to order a mail order bride and like control her because like it was very dark what he put in there, what he was looking for.
I think it was probably related to trying to find a cute little sweet innocent Christian girl.
Yeah,
on there.
Girl. Yeah,
innocent in his mind. Like, I can corrupt her.
Yeah. And Gypsy fit that bill for him. I mean, she really did. Like, because I mean, as manipulative as she is, and conniving and all of that, like, still very, very innocent in practicality of life, so they meet on this dating site, and apparently they exchange messages for over 3 years before the actual murder happens. Now, like we said in the opening, we only have messages from the text messages on their burner phones from a month before. We do have a couple of Facebook things, but not going back much further than that. So we don't really get to see a whole lot of this, how this relationship came down. I'm really looking forward to that once the trial is over, or the appeal is over, to see if they release that stuff. And if they do, we'll definitely do like an update, on all of this.
Yeah, I would love to read those and how.
Yeah.
I mean, they send each other like 100 messages a day.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know, and you can tell that what we're seeing is only parts of things, like, because they would like talk in Messenger, or they would talk in text messages, and then she'd be like, I'm on Facebook too, and then they'd have some sort of conversation on Facebook, and then it would come back to the text messages. Like, I mean, it was just an obsessive amount of time. And I still believe, like, seeing that, like, and the more I look at it and the more I think about it, the more I believe that Dee Dee had to know that they were having some sort of online relationship.
She had to have known.
I don't see it being fully, because there's times where the messages are sent in the middle of the day. There's times where it was sent at night. I mean, it's all weird hours. It's not just from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. or midnight to 2. There's other times. And
yeah, sometimes I think that she did like the Facebook and the other chatting on the laptop at night when Dee Dee was sleeping. And I think the phone was like the day, because she could put it away if she didn't want Dee Dee to see her. But I think to an extent, Dee Dee knew that she was speaking to someone. I don't know how much she knew, but I think that may have been, like we talked about earlier, like almost like a bargaining chip. Well, if you do what I say, I'll let you talk online to somebody, or, I'll let you have a Facebook or something like that. So I definitely think Dee Dee knew something.
Well, and I definitely think that in Dee Dee's mind, it was another way to, like we said, to, possibly fleece people for money. What this guy's going to feel bad for her. She's this poor little sick girl. You've got to keep it up. You can't tell him you're not sick. You've got to be sick, because, her profile picture is her being sick. It's not her made up or anything, it's sick little girl, which is pervy. I mean, a guy looking for that's pervy. Because she looks like all at 12, I mean, and so I do think that was part of Dee Dee's, like you said, maybe a little bit of freedom, but also I think she thought she could milk it, and I'm sure Nick was not what she was expecting, So
well, I was just watching an episode of can't remember what it was, but it was very famous. Like, it was a really famous case of like some hardcore like murder rapping, and like these 2 teenage girls were really into it, and like then she met a boy online who was in California, and they were all planned up to go to this concert together. One of the girls' parents took them all, picked him up at the airport, and he was just a creepy weirdo that she just didn't want to be around. And then they went home to her house. He was planning to stay there for a week, and he killed them all with an axe.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, but like seeing it, I was like, ooh, it reminded me of Nick a lot.
Yeah.
Just that whole not what you were expecting situation, and then becoming uncomfortable, and then making somebody else feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I'm sure Nick would have been violent to Gypsy if she did not do what he said.
Well, and he talks about that in these text messages, as well as emails currently that he's sent out to people of that he would do that to somebody if they weren't doing what he wanted them to do. He's talked about in emails to, a present day girlfriend, quote unquote, was like, I'll rape you. You'll have to be okay with that. It just makes it easier if you just lay there and let me do it, so that way I can get it out of my system and we can go on, or just fight back, because that makes me more excited and it'll go faster for you. Like,
it's like, I'm laughing in a creepy way, not unlike I think that's funny.
Right.
Like,
it's
uncomfortable, weirdo, and I'm glad you're behind bars.
Yeah.
Especially I live in Wisconsin, guys.
I know.
Knowing that those kind of people are just out there, I don't know. Shut out.
Yeah, and then okay, so they kind of meet this online, and they come up with these plans, and the first plan was, okay, so maybe you can meet my mom in like a public setting and she'll like you. That was never going to happen. And even if Dee Dee had been willing to meet a guy that was pursuing her daughter, Nicholas Godejohn would not have been it.
No.
No fucking hell. She can meet you, she'll like you, and then the other plan was, well, what if I get pregnant? And then she'll have to accept you because I'll be pregnant. Like, okay. And then obviously the last plan.
For the plans.
So the plans, so plan C, or I don't know if they called it plan C or if they called this one plan. I think plan B was actually like the murder, but there was.
Yeah, plan B was murder. C was the pregnancy.
C was the pregnancy. Like murder was before the pregnancy? Okay, that's interesting.
I think they said somewhere like it was actually plan B was the murder, but they liked the way that plan B sounded. So they decided to call that plan B. I think I'm making that up. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere.
No, I think I've heard you say that. I think I've heard that said before too.
Yeah.
I just wasn't even thinking about it. But yeah, plan B was the murder. Plan C was getting pregnant. Obviously plan C was half-assed.
Yeah, well, you can do it one time, and your body is just, you may have a period, but you are not suitable to really actually get pregnant, and that one time probably wasn't the greatest. I'm sure you didn't follow the greatest instructions on taking your basal body temperature and keeping your legs in the air.
So let's talk about plan A. So plan A was meeting her. They decided that they were going to meet at the premiere of Cinderella. And she's going to get all princessed up, and she sends him clothes, which for him to dress up as like her Prince Charming, which makes me wonder where she got those and how she got those, or if she just I mean, I don't know. I don't know if she sent them from like Amazon, like ordered them and sent them, or if she actually like stole them from Walmart and sent them. But that still means, how the hell did she get that to him without Dee Dee noticing?
And that's confusing, how like getting it into a package and then putting it in a UPS drop box. I don't know. It probably had to be Amazon.
Well, I don't know. Like, what I'm thinking is probably like, if she was at Walmart, because she said, I think she said she got them at Walmart and stuff. She took them from Walmart. She probably stole them. I could see her like, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom, run off to the bathroom. And outside of Walmart is like, a box for the post office. And she probably just threw it in there, put a lot of postage on it and just threw it in there, so.
True. Yeah, that was really I don't know how she thought that was going to work. This creepy, awkward dude showing up to a kid's movie premiere and then starts talking to this girl dressed up in a princess costume.
Right. Like, it would have been different if he had like a niece or a nephew or something that he was taking, but he just shows up, this single guy, all dressed up. Like, what guy do you know dresses up to go to the movies by himself? Nobody. And then he like meets her and he's like awkward and he follows her around and he keeps trying to sit close to them. So Dee Dee keeps moving them. Like, that was a good accurate portrayal in the act. That was a good accurate portrayal. That is one of the things that I do believe they got very, very well, that they did a good job of really depicting. I thought that was spot on. It probably was very awkward like that. I'm sure he probably stumbled over his words like that. Dee Dee probably yelled at him like that. I think that the bathroom scene went really well, as far as probably accurate to what actually happened, and I felt like they handled that really delicately. I felt like that was done really well. I do believe that was a good portrayal in the act. It was one of the only things that I really felt was really done well.
Accurate. Right, because
not just even accurate, but done well. It wasn't overly done. It wasn't over, like there was so many things in the thing that were over the top, and that was not. So I really felt like they depicted that very well.
Right, because you could have just, had her going into the bathroom and then her like standing up in a stall and them just doing it standing up. And
well, I mean, that is kind
quickie.
of that is what she describes happened, really.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like it was good that they didn't
portray it. Yeah,
right. They made it very romanticized.
Right, and for her, I mean, I guess for them that was romantic. I mean, but I mean, think about that being romantic for you. Like, wow.
I mean,
that's I just can't imagine that being your very first time. Oh.
No. So, because Tim and I have been together since 8th grade, so we definitely have been to plenty of movies together, and we have some special memories in movie theaters, but never like that. And it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's thrilling. I don't know if I would say it's romantic.
No.
And where you really should, lose your virginity.
I think when I was in 10th grade, I had a friend who asked me to go with her to movies with this guy that she liked that lived across the street. And she's like, my parents won't let me go with him. If you go with me, then we can go together and then he can go. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And then I'm sitting there and the two of them were like, I mean, basically in the theater having sex. I mean, it was pretty and I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Like I literally got up and I said, I don't know how you're getting home, but I'm leaving. and I just walked out because I was like, this is gross. Everybody has that moment of like, I guess, sit in the back and kiss, or the drive-in movie, where you have to remember what the hell the movie was about because you didn't actually see the movie. You were there doing whatever, Yeah, lots of people have those stories, but I mean, this was full on sex in a bathroom. Like, wow. Okay.
Well, and I feel like they could have maybe done, gone to second or third base in a bathroom and maybe had saved it up for after plan B in the hotel and maybe some rose petals. Like, I'm sure that would have been much more her idealized first time. It probably would have been better.
I don't know. I guess that was part of plan C was, all right, well, we'll try meeting my mom. And if that doesn't work, I'll get pregnant at the same time. Hey.
Like, and I don't know why she thought it was going to be pregnant within like a month.
I don't know. And I think, like if she was taking all the medications that she was on, it would have been very hard for her to get pregnant.
Oh yeah.
And with all the surgeries and everything that's been done to her, she may never be able to get pregnant.
Right, because you can still have a menstrual cycle and not ovulate.
Right, and not ovulate, exactly.
Or make it very, very difficult.
Right.
And they didn't wait. Like, I feel like she expected to be pregnant the next day. Yeah.
Like,
I feel like kicking.
Yeah. Like almost like every time you have sex, you just get pregnant.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it, and
it happens.
This plan.
It
happens.
It's my parents.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It happened to me. Like I'm not met my husband, but reunited with my husband after coming out of a 2-year relationship where, I had never used protection in that relationship. We were in a committed relationship. We were going to get married and I wasn't really worried about it. Plus I had been told for years and years and years and years that I couldn't have children that way because of the PCOS, and I had lost a child in my early, not early teens, late teens, right around 20. And so I was told that I wouldn't be able to get pregnant. And for 2 years, that was true. And then the very first time I was with my husband, bam, llama, we were pregnant, and I did get pregnant on birth control after that. And so he's got super sperm. That's not like the norm. I mean,
well, I just got my birth control taken out 2 weeks ago. And I got my period after a week and I'm like, I haven't had my period in 10 years. This sucks. And now I'm like, okay, I have a very pretty expensive dress that I have to fit into. Do not get pregnant right now, as much as I really, really want to have a baby right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially because all of my best friends have children who are 2 now.
Right.
And so it's like, and I know I'm only 25, like I've got time.
You got plenty of
But,
time.
Like I want 5 kids, so the time is kind of like ticking down.
Wow.
And but like it's like I know I have to be careful, and because when we were in high school, my dad was like birth control, birth control, and that's why I got the implant, and I totally recommend it for teenagers, young adults. Nexplanon, little toothpick in your arm, get it.
Yeah, I recommend it too. All of my girls are on birth control, even though they aren't necessarily sexually active. One of my daughters, I put her on because she just has terrible periods, and it helped with that. But beyond that, I just recommend it. I was never one of those that was like, just because they offer it in schools, there's like condoms or whatever in schools, they're going to do it. They're going to do it anyway. At least you can protect them, But let's talk about this pregnancy idea. We're going to talk more about the text messages later on, but I definitely want to address this pregnancy, not pregnancy kind of thing. So, Colleen, you want to lead us into that?
Yeah. So in the text messages, a lot of people get confused in the wording that these 2 people use. Mm-hmm. They say that, oh, do you want me to get pregnant again? And a lot of people infer that means that Gypsy had been pregnant.
Right.
And that's not the case. She was not pregnant. It was that, do you want to try to get pregnant again?
Right.
But that he wasn't going to come down there for them to do it again. That wasn't going to happen.
Right. I mean, it's a 18-hour bus ride one way?
Yeah, it's not really worth it. Because it clearly didn't work the first time, and it was just going to be way too complicated to come up with another excuse for them to be alone for a minute.
Right.
But Gypsy was never pregnant.
Yeah. Even Nick admits that. Well, okay, here's the thing. He has admitted that many times that there was not any real time for them to do that, that it didn't happen that way, and that she was never pregnant. But here's the funny thing. The same day that the Oxygen channel came out, Nick released an email to someone and he basically went into this great detail about her being pregnant, and that she told him she was pregnant and that she lost the baby because of the feeding tube pressing on the thing, which would never have happened. And I think that was right around the time that he was getting ready for appeals. And he had told other people that he was going to put that out there for people to know, because he thought it would help his appeal in some way, which how that would help his appeal, I don't know. I guess he thought if he made Gypsy look like a liar or manipulative, then maybe that would help his appeal. But this is clearly somebody who doesn't understand how appeals work.
Well, I think he was maybe thinking it would help his Prince Charming attitude and just
also her manipulation and lies.
Yeah. But a feeding tube does not mean you cannot get pregnant. Had to. I still saw my OB. I could still get pregnant.
Right.
It's just for nutrition. A baby grows and does compact your organs, but it doesn't mean it's going to kill your baby.
Right.
It does not do that.
No. So, I mean, so definitely that she was never pregnant. That was never anything that came up.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
She would have had either doctor's appointments or something that would have proven it. Otherwise, too, of all the times that she was being, there was a great period of time between Cinderella, and the murder. She still went to doctors over and over again. You would think that would at least have come up at some point in time. So,
right. She had CT scans. She had MRIs.
Yeah. So
it would have showed a baby.
Blood panels, things like that. Yeah. So it would have shown. So definitely that did not happen. But this is a crazy relationship. The BDSM gets brought up early on. He introduces himself as a 500-year-old vampire who enjoys killing people. So that's strange in itself. Like, I don't understand what was going through their heads.
I don't understand the appeal.
I don't either.
Like what?
I don't know. I guess for Gypsy, maybe it was just that anybody was showing her attention,
maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of. But still, I think even still, if somebody had said that to me, I would have ran for the hills. Like,
hell yeah.
What? But I guess her explanation was that he was accepting her for her medical issues, so she should accept him for his. Like, honey, there's a big difference between I have cancer and I'm a 500-year-old vampire who likes killing people.
Right. Mental health is a really big health issue, but mental health and physical health are not on the same level.
Not on the same level. But then again, maybe she saw that and thought, aha, I found the right one. He'll do it. Because I don't think that it just came up one day. I think that this had been in her mind since the last time she ran away. I think it became very clear to her that the only way to escape was her mom had to die. Like, I think, it's kind of like that Earl had to die, like the Dixie Chicks singing that's what became apparent was the only way that woman was going to escape that man. I kind of feel like Gypsy felt the same way. The only way I'm going to escape my mom is for her to not be here. And how do I do that? And I think that it just, like we said, a perfect storm. She aligned with a person who, instead of saying, no, you can leave. And, he talks about that in an interview where he says that he tried to convince her to run away. Now, I don't see that in the text messages that we have, but it's not to say that it never happened. He said she was never willing to accept that solution of like, just run away and it would go better than what happened before. And we played that. We're going to play that clip a little later. But definitely, I don't know. I don't think she was looking for that. I think she really, it became more and more apparent to her that mom had to go.
Right. It's just, she was looking for a guy who's going to do it. And I think there's slim pickings out there.
Right. And I don't think he was the first that she ever asked.
No.
Now, do I think that she was like...
Absolutely not.
Do I think she was on the internet at night looking for a hitman? No. I think she was just looking for somebody who would either pay her attention or take her away. And when he announced that he was a person that liked to kill, I think that became, well, that's the solution. That's absolutely it. I should totally do this, I think it morphed over time into what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading the Facebook messages between him and his ex.
Yeah.
And he's just a creep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good.
We'll talk about those in the next.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good, we'll be right back, so, okay. Awesome.
This is so gross. It's like,
oh God,
the chaos dragon, and I joined the coven.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are fucking
creepy. We would have been together, the rulers, the demons, and the spirit.
Oh yeah, totally weird. Totally
what fucked up, man.
The twin flame and
oh yeah. Yeah. And I do want to talk about, when we talk about the text messages, I do want to talk about how when we talk about the emails between him and Dawn, it's going to be the same kind of language, the twin flame and the da-da-da, and I've never felt this before, because he uses that in his way of controlling these women.
Yeah,
and he preys on weak women. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants to see him as this sweet guy, and he's just fucking not. And these women have a weird obsession with him. Christina and I have talked about this before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I don't understand.
So we're gonna get cut off.
I don't either. They become like groupies. It's really, really weird.
No, it's really like they do. They become like groupies, and he's not even okay. Like, Manson is not unattractive. He was attractive before he went, completely like full beard and long hair psycho, but he was somewhat attractive and he was very charismatic. Ted Bundy, extremely attractive, very charismatic. Like, you think about the guys who had groupies. Nick Comerford is not the guy. Scott Peterson,
Even Chris Watts.
Attractive. No.
The first thing I thought when I saw, when I watched the act, I was like, I imagine Gypsy meeting him for the first time, but I don't see her like so naive. So now my view of her is like, damn, he ain't got no swag. How the hell did I find him out of everybody on the fucking internet? I ended up with this. Like
prison has been treating his waistline very well.
Oh yeah.
And the neck beard is so gross.
Oh, so gross.
Oh. Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back.
Oh my goodness, I wish you guys could smell this cheese soup I have cooking. Hey, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, letting you know I have this cheese soup cooking, and oh my goodness, it smells delicious. So here goes. I'm gonna give you the directions on how to make this awesome recipe. So the first thing you want to do is, in a large saucepan over medium heat, we want to take our carrots and, guess what, our Cajun Trinity, onion, celery, bell pepper, and garlic. We want to stir in hot pepper sauce or cayenne pepper, salt, and pepper. All your seasonings. Mix all of those things together. You want to pour your chicken broth and beer. And if you're from Wisconsin, you might want to use any kind of beer. But Louisiana, we use Budweiser. So you want to put your beer. You want to simmer your vegetables until they're tender. Usually takes about 12 minutes. Meanwhile, in another pot, in your large soup pot, you want to put it on medium heat. You want to stir your flour with a wire whisk with your butter, kind of making that roux that we need to keep the soup thick. You want to stir your flour until it's brown, about 3 or 4 minutes. Gradually stir in your milk, whisking to prevent any scorching. You want to make sure you have no lumps, and you want to make it thick. You want to remove it from the heat and stir in the cheese as it's keeping warm and melting. Then you want to stir in your beer mixture to your cheese mixture. You want to put both things together. Put a little Dijon mustard, Worcestershire sauce, dry mustard, and a little bit of hot sauce in there as well. You want to bring it to the boil, bring it to a simmer, and cook. You want to serve it with popcorn, which I think I would like to serve it with like chips, some type of tortilla chips. But this recipe calls for popcorn. So I'm going to pop my popcorn, and I have my cheese soup on the stove, and I am going to tell you next time how good this recipe is. See you later.
Ty, another great recipe. For the full recipe that was shared tonight, join us at our exclusive membership club at www.patreon.com/truecrimewives.
We have some text messages on Facebook between Nick and Allie, who is his best friend. She's a girl. That happened in 2014. And these are messages that we have prior to the text messages that we have with Gypsy.
Right. So these are part of the Facebook messages. Of course, nobody has those. Even they've never been released. They're still being held for
the appeal trial.
The appeal and the trial. Yeah. So we have some that have been released, and we also have some that weren't released because they were in our discovery file. But yeah, I mean, most of those are still being held, but these are pretty telling, the conversations he has with this young lady. Now, this is supposed to be his best friend. She is also supposed to be autistic. So bear with the differences of kind of, not strange, but it's definitely not just your average text messages.
Right, because there's no thought process on the information that each other get.
Right.
There's a lot of, oh, did you get my text? Did you? Yeah, I had a good time. So I think they're talking about what they did prior the next day or the prior day.
Right.
Because there are these redacted messages that we don't have.
Right.
But the ones that we do have, surprisingly, in May of 2014, on May 16th, Nick is telling Allie about Gypsy. And he then just says, did you, who are you talking about? And he's like, Gypsy. And then there's some redacted messages. And then she asks, okay, about killing her mom? So I had already had a conversation about this murder a year and a month prior to it actually happening.
Right. Well, I mean, Gypsy and Nick talk about the fact that they planned it for 2 years. But yeah, he's having this conversation with an outside person, not just Gypsy. And so it's not just Gypsy who knew what was going on. Other people, and Allie is not the only one either. There's another woman that he speaks to as well.
Beth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Nick even tells Allie the plan. This is his words. Yes, she said she wants to see how our original plan goes first, with me meeting her and her mom and such. And I guess she said to only do it as a last resort, sis. Mm-hmm. Murdering as the last resort. So he's even telling her plan ABC here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Isn't there one where he asks, how crazy do you think Gypsy is?
Yes. He says, yes, sis, I have to ask you something. How crazy do you think Gypsy is? You won't hurt my feelings or anything. I really want to know, though, since I just obviously can tell she is just, I can't seem to put in words how crazy I think she is. So he's telling her
that he thinks that Gypsy's crazy.
And how crazy do you think she is?
And then, it's okay, I'm just going to go murder her because I totally love her.
Yep. She replies, well, IDK had to put it into words either, but I will be honest, I would not ever kill my mom or anyone else unless they tried to kill me first.
Wow.
So she's
at least more sense, but she
doesn't say it.
Wow.
And then this is still the same conversation. He says, yeah, I know. I suppose situations change people, though, to where others are willing to do things that other people aren't. And obviously my mom, even though she has been hard on me overall, she has been a very good mother to me. So I couldn't ever do it to her. And the only reason I can understand it with her mom is because how unreasonably poor her mom treats her. But since it's a last resort thing, who knows? Maybe it won't even have to happen. She says, yeah, I suppose.
To just speak so callously about murder.
And again, we have redacted messages. So these are the ones.
Right.
We don't know what they said like multiple times, the video conversations that he was having with these multiple women at the same time that he's talking to Gypsy.
Right, and talking about how crazy Gypsy is. Like, I don't know. I just, for him to say that about his mom, like, kind of, that was interesting, you know, to me, because she wasn't a particularly good mom, you know. I mean, and that's how we believe that he got here. But I just, God, it just seems so. He's like, well, you know, and the way that he chooses his words here really, again, shows that he is not just this manipulated poor guy who had no idea what he was doing. I'm sorry, he's just not. And I'm not saying that she didn't manipulate him. I mean, she absolutely fucking manipulated him, and he manipulated her. But he did not know what he was doing. He knew for years what he was doing. Yeah.
And he had some comments that he said, like, I wouldn't kill my mom.
Right. But I suppose I'll do hers.
Yeah, she treats her pretty poor, so it's fine.
That's fine.
But so that's the last conversations we have with Allie until the following year. Now we have some conversations that he has with Beth.
Mm-hmm.
And Beth is another one of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I do believe that they had a romantic relationship at one point in time. I am not 100% certain of when that romantic relationship was, or how long it lasted, or what the specifics of it is. But I do believe that is one of the girls that he had some sort of romantic relationship with. And I think based on the text messages between the two, you can tell that is a romantic relationship of some sort.
Yeah, I'm going to read exactly what they send to each other, because it's very much gets into that controlling that we're going to see with the text messages between Nick and Gypsy.
Yeah.
In April 22nd of 2015, he texts her, yeah, like I said, I'm different, and actually you didn't see a side of me that the woman I am with now knows about, and it still didn't scare her off. It's called true love. She says, I have that now. You have no idea what I've been through with my husband, and it was a lot worse than what I went through with you, and I'm still here by his side. Yeah, well, me and the one I'm with are defying the laws of nature to stay together. It is as bad as can be. I won't tell you what I'll have to do to stay with her, but I'll do it by means of keeping her. And she says, actually, Nick, I'm in the same boat. People have threatened to kill me, my husband, and my daughter for me to leave him, and I still haven't. There are demons in this world that are destined to keep me and him apart, but I am not letting them tear us apart. And he replies, oh, I see. Well, you don't understand how bad it really is for me. I mean, you may know a nugget of it, but not the full thing. Sorry, I can't share it. It must stay between me and her.
Oh, but it was okay to share it with Allie. It's okay to share it with
a year
Allie.
ago.
Yeah.
It's so strange. It's like he's trying to get her jealous in a way by like bragging that I'm going to do like this really horrible thing to defy the laws of nature to be with the one I'm with.
And I wouldn't do it for you.
Yeah. So strange.
It's a competition.
Yeah.
Like she's making it like, well, you don't know it's like for me. He's like, you don't know what it's like for me.
Right. Well, you don't know what it's like for me. You know?
So she replies, this is the same between me and him. If I even think of telling someone my life is on the line, I could be killed any day now. Well, someone else's life is on the line, and that is all I can say. Sorry. You think
these type of conversations?
Someone else's life is on the line.
Well, you don't think I know how it is, but I do. I got into another world and life that I knew nothing about until I met him. And then he says, believe me, you don't know what I'm talking about. Just keep at it that I can't say anymore. And she says, I'm not asking you to say anymore. I know what you're talking about. And he just eggs her on, because he then says, tell me if you are so confident in that you know. She's like, what I'm talking about is there are demons and spirits from another world, the Wiccan world, the afterlife. Yeah, we get into the weirdo part now.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
He says, well, that is something completely different from what I am experiencing and will have to deal with soon. You don't know what I'm talking about, but if it must stay between me and her, I guess it has to.
This is the most bizarre conversation ever.
It's just, she says, completely different. So I need to explain that the spelling in both of their conversations are awful. So if I seem like have bad grammar, it's because they have bad grammar.
It's horrendous. It's terrible.
They spelled what, W-A-T, and could, C-U-D. So that's where we're at. She says completely different.
And her husband into, like, are they like devil worshippers or something? Like,
yeah, like who knows? And it's, and I'm not knocking, other different types of spirituality, Mother Earth, Wiccan, nothing like that. I mean, but this is just in the context of this conversation, it's very strange.
Yeah, well, what she's saying, like, people want to kill her. Her husband and her child's life has been threatened if she doesn't leave him. So, like, what kind of shit is he in?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Threatening your lives.
Who is threatening you? And is it real threatening? Because I don't know if you know what he's talking about, but he's talking about really killing somebody.
Right. No, I know.
And he's just like, do you know? I bet you don't know. Tell me if you know. Like, I don't. And so she says completely different. What could be worse than the chaos dragon and the rules of the spirit world and afterlife threatening to kill her whole family for staying with one person? So I don't know if she thinks that the demons
are threatening them.
Yeah, not real people. I think it's just.
Wow, maybe that sounds like psychosis of some sort. I mean,
that does. That sounds like real problems.
That sounds like real psychosis. Like, not like I'm a 500-year-old vampire who I'm pretending to be. That sounds like I'm really freaking
Well, because then she says, I have ghosts haunting me. Possessing him. Have him try to kill me.
Wow.
He says, well, you're in a whole different dilemma than me. But once I do...
I'm sorry. I know it's not funny, but it is. Like, oh, well, yeah, you got ghosts after you. I got to kill a bitch, okay? So,
he's like, but once I do what I must, I'll have to disappear from a place on earth, possibly the rest of my life. And she'll have to come with me and leave all her past behind her.
Meanwhile, we're just going to go ahead and shack up at my mom's house in fucking Wisconsin. That'll be fine. That's leaving
It's
everything
fine.
behind right now, right?
Everything. Let's leave this, disappear a place on Earth. Your house is not invisible, sir. It is not like secret. No one can see.
I'm sorry, but the wardrobe that you have in your room is not to Narnia. Okay? God. I mean, since they were found hiding in the wardrobe, you know, I mean, maybe they thought they were on their way to Narnia. I don't know.
Right, like, go past the closets. Go. Wait
I
for the
don't
snow.
God.
And then she says, we were in the same way when I joined the coven. He says, well, the one I am with is aware of that stuff too, but I can't say any more. So I'm shutting up now about what me and her must do in the future. She says, I have to do things I hate, terrible things that I hate, just to keep him. He says, I would be surprised if you were in the exact same spot as me. She says, you would be surprised.
This is a very bizarre conversation.
Yep. Because she says, Nick, I have to have sex with him in ways I hate in order to keep him. I make deals with the devil and have to do as he says, otherwise I will lose. That's like a weird...
So is she thinking that like she's married to the devil? Does she think her husband's a demon? Like,
I don't know what kind of
is there
sex
really
he's making her do.
Is there really a husband? Like, or is this something in her mind that she is having sex with some demon?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's been really weird.
Super weird. And I thought the messages between Gypsy and Nick were weird, but good.
These are
freaking God,
so then,
these are strange.
The last message is from Nick to her. He says, wow, and just think if we would have been together, you wouldn't have went down that path. The one that I'm with is aware of those things. However, I have to do the unthinkable just to keep me and her safe. And I must say, please never come around me. It's that I worry for the sake of him, not you. I wouldn't ever hurt you, even to this day. But what he sounds like he's putting you through, it makes me sad, even though it does. I can't open up my situation, even if I wanted to. ... In truth, I do. So you said you didn't, and you do. But I can't say, as you know me, being a Taurus, the most loyal sign in the zodiac. If I say anything, I would betray myself as much as I would betray her, and I can't do that to her. But I'll let you know. I hope you stay safe, even though you have to do things that are BDSM related. Last message. That was the last time they talk.
I don't even know what to say.
He's literally saying, like, I would kill him. I want to hurt you. But I can't. I want to be with you, but I can't be with you because I said I'm with her. But if things don't work out, I'll hit you up.
And I'll kill him for you. And I'm so sorry that you have to do BDSM things, even though I'm totally into BDSM things. And she knows all about the covens and all of that. But, you know, that doesn't matter. I'm just going to kill her mom. What the hell kind of conversation is that?
I don't
So I
know.
wonder if that's why her and Nick's relationship ended because she says, she said something in the beginning, I think, like, what I have to go through to be with him is worse than what I went through with you. So it makes me wonder if that's why she ended things with Nick, and then the next person she got involved with, in her mind, is worse than what Nick wanted her to do.
I don't know. I'm not even quite, like I said, I'm not even quite sure this person exists. So I don't know. And I've seen pictures of this woman with her family. I don't know. They look very happy, and it does not look like people are threatening to kill them.
It's got to be some sort of psychosis.
It's got to be. I mean,
like, as a medical professional, these sound like delusions.
Yeah, extremely. And whoever this is, somebody should be very concerned with her.
And her child.
Yes.
So I hope she has gotten help since those messages were in 2015.
God, I hope so. Man.
But
I tried to reach out to her, and she talked to me for a few minutes, and basically She indicated that she didn't know about, she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, your name is this. And she said, yes, it is. And I said, well, then these are your messages. No, they're not. I said, I believe they are. And she said, no, Nick and I were together long before that. And we broke up long before any of this happened. And the only reason I knew any of this happened was because I watched Mommy Dead and Dearest. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. But okay. I assume it's that she didn't want to be involved because she didn't want to be implicated in knowing something, but honey, they have these messages, and obviously they didn't come after you, so they're not coming after you, but I mean, it was very strange. It was a really weird conversation between me and her through text messages. And I finally just was like, okay, well, thanks for your time. Have a nice day.
Yeah. But so that's the last of the Facebook messages between Nick and another party that's not Gypsy until the day of the murder. So we'll get back to those. Now we're going to go into the text messages.
And the text messages that we have, we're starting with May 27th, 2015. And one of the things that Nick does here is, I'm not sure what the beginning of this was because we don't have it, but it seems almost like he was apologizing for maybe a little argument that they had. And he says, that was my evil side who did that. You know, my good side would never call you that, hun. Maybe a bitch when you're being one, but that is all, hun. Well, it's all true, hun, and it was about voices in my head, but instead of getting rid of them, they became part of me, baby. How it works is based on my thoughts and feelings, dear. Depends on what part of me shows, honey. And then Gypsy replies, I understand, hun, but that doesn't mean I don't understand you. So if this is Nick explaining how his quote-unquote multiple personalities come out, he's saying that the evil side, the good side, those sides of him come out. It's based on his thoughts and feelings, and that determines what part of him shows. Now, I'm not a doctor, but for everything I know, that is not how dissociative identity disorder works.
No.
Like,
and then he goes on to further try to explain it. It doesn't get any better of an explanation. I don't know.
Yeah,
right. If no one else understands him.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, this is right. I mean, they've already been in a relationship at this point for almost 3 years. They are, and this is right before the murder. Like, I don't understand why this conversation is happening right now. Like, I sure wish I could see the other parts of this because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, none of this makes sense. That's the thing that we have determined is none of this case, like, no matter where you start and where you go, none of this makes sense. It doesn't make sense how Dee Dee got away with things. It doesn't make sense the medical files. It doesn't make sense the doctors. The family doesn't make sense. He doesn't make sense. How they got together doesn't make sense. How they ended up doing this. None of it makes sense. It's all some random weird shit. And how we ended up where we ended up is...
most of the time when you do research true crime or watch documentaries, you end up with answers to the questions that you started with. With this case, no matter what part of it, you never end up with an answer. You always end up with more and more questions.
Yeah, more questions.
Well, and I've said it before, Gypsy has a very histrionic personality. She wants to please everybody, which involves a lot of lies. And so she responds to Nick with, well, I do. You understand me in my different ways.
Yeah.
Like, she's the making up of the personalities for his personality.
Right. And that's one of the things that she did for him. And see, this is where she does explain that to her. She said, yeah, he told me he was a 500-year-old vampire. And Dr. Phil even asked her, and that didn't seem, off to you. And she said, well, no, because I mean, he accepted me for my problems, so I should probably just accept him for his. Like, he has multiple personalities, and one of them is a 500-year-old vampire. That's fine. I just accept him. That's not normal. That's not. Yes, you have what's called. She thought she was really sick. Maybe not. but you know, she thinks she's really sick and he's accepting of her being sick in a wheelchair. Being sick in a wheelchair is much different than thinking you are a 500-year-old vampire.
Yeah, mental health and physical health, different.
Totally different things. And I'm not saying that people with mental health, you know, don't deserve to be loved. I have mental health issues. My husband has mental health issues.
Everybody does.
Everybody has something, but and even those with true multiple personalities deserve, you know, to be loved and cared for and everything. But it's
the needing. It's okay, he is paying attention to me. I will deal with whatever he says.
Right.
And so she has these personalities that, and her mood is just up and down.
Right. And he even goes on where he's like, honey, this is where we're different though. I don't just want, and then he puts all this in capitalized. So, honey, this is where we're different though is not in capitals. And then he goes on to say, I don't just want everything with you, but I need everything with you for me to feel complete, sweetheart. And then I think it's like a hearty thing at the end because it's like a V with a 3. I think that's a heart. And then she's like, I need you too. Like it's so codependent in such a strange way.
It's like a sick, twisted fairy tale when you read these messages. Like even with going from where we're talking, Gypsy says to him, and these are 2 back-to-back, same minutes, at 7:08 p.m., both of these texts come up. She says to him, promise me the good part of you will never die. And then in the next one, it's, by the way, I'm on Facebook too. Like,
just
they go back and forth from like a semi-normal conversation, and then it just switches to some weird
witch.
It's like, I don't know, like Gypsy's version of a fairy tale, like what she watched all those years, like you know, all the Disney movies, and then Nick's 5,000-year-old vampire, like those 2 worlds collided, and this is what it's like, this twisted fairy tale.
Right. Well, then so then you get the response back, and he's like, "Really, dear? Because at times I wonder if you need me." And then he's like, "Baby, it could never die." and then she's like, "I do need you." And it kills me to make you have to be on these ups and downs. Wait a minute, is that from him or her?
That's from her.
Oh, that's from her. And then
you'll
she's
see a
like,
lot of ups and downs from her.
Right. And then she's like, or then he goes, honey, you would not mind using a sweet name every once in a while. It helps me to remember I'm worshipped, hun.
That's one of my favorite messages between them, because then after that it starts that every single message is a hun, dear, sweetie, honey, baby, darling. Every single message after this.
And you can tell these are such immature people.
Yes.
And like Tim and I have been together for 12 years. If I look back on my text messages from high school, there's a lot of, you know, neediness on both ends. Yes. But like these are 2 people who are both extremely immature, really don't have any real social life or social understanding, despite them being in their 20s now.
Well, that's the thing. That's like I said, I've said it many times. When I first saw these and discussed them with Christy, I was like, these are really disturbing in the fact that they're just so immature, yet the content is so advanced.
Yes.
And so then it goes on and she's like, sure, sweetie. And he's like, that's better, dear, with another heart, you know, and like, what guy do you know that's hearting all the time like that? Like, I don't know. My husband will send me a heart every once in a while.
Yeah, but now remember, these are not smartphones where you hit the heart emoji. This is the little click.
Right, you got to click it in
every single letter.
And then it's like, and then her coming back. She's like, it's not that I don't worship you. I do, baby. I do. And I look forward to being with you. I'm just dealing with everything changing, hun. And then he's like, about you or exactly what changes, dear? So he has no clue what the fuck she's talking about, right?
The move that's coming up. Darlene, I'm scared.
And he's like, scared of what, my love?
Of everything. I'm not good with change, baby.
And he says, everything, sweetheart. We both have that in common when it has to do with moving, dear.
I'm going to be okay. I just need to calm down and take a breath. But darling, my feelings for you will never change, heart. I'm yours, and you too make me happy.
And then this is, again, where I think Gypsy's ups and downs come into play a lot. He says, I hope they never change because you scare me at times, with a little heart. I hope so, honey, because I put my mind, heart, and soul into being with you and making you happy, sweetie. And then she tries to reassure him. But
my feelings won't change. And though I have freakouts, I always come back to you, my love. I'm so sorry I scared you. I'll give you lots of love in the hotel, baby.
That's reassuring, dear. I needed that. After doing what my evil side said, hun. I mean, this is just, it's like, oh, the move is what's upsetting me. Not the murder. Not the murder. I don't care about the murder. That's not going to bother me at all.
We'll do it lots when we go to hotel.
Right.
And he just needs to be reassured because she tells him, well, I reassured you on Facebook too, hun, with a heart.
Like it wasn't enough for her to tell him in the text message. She had to go to Facebook to reassure him at the exact same time.
It's like, you won't let anything in our way. I wore myself out with being emotional.
I mean,
it's just funny. And also, all of you listening, these text messages have it's not like 3 a.m. secret texting. This is like 2 p.m., 7 p.m.
9:30 at night. Yeah.
Yeah. 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, no.
Oh, this one's one of my favorites. Okay, darling. Well, I love, adore, and worship you, my everything, and I'm not giving up. And then the next one is like XOXOXO all by itself. And then the other one, that's music to my ears, sweetie. Heart. Like, oh, it's like vomit inducing. It's like one of those couples that are like always all over each other.
Smushy.
All the time. And you're like, ew, get off. Can you like not
get
stick your tongue down her throat right now, please? I mean, we're in fourth period. Like, you know.
Well, then about 3 or 4 minutes later, he says to her, dear, will there be less of these freakouts in person? And she says, yes, darling, when we're together, I will be a lot more relaxed, mostly because he uses hugs, kisses, and body language to prevent it.
Body language.
And he says, true, and sex will relieve us of the stress, dear.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And it's like, that's where like the childish part comes in, where it's like, oh my God, so you think whatever strange freakouts you're having is going to be cured by having sex with Nick and everything is just going to be fine. Like,
right, so every 30 minutes going to do it.
So then at 10:03, this is the same, that this is all on May 27th, guys. We've not even gotten off the first fucking day. Okay, this is at 10:03. He's like, a lot of our problems are we don't have a physical relation, hun, so it's hard, hun. And then, true, I suppose most of our problems are physical related, dear. And then he says, and I want you to know being with me.
No, it's her.
Oh, is this her?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, the second one is, I want you to know being with me won't be hell.
It will be much better, sweetie.
And he says, when exactly, dear, since you got me curious?
Well, I'm going to start now, but it'll be all the way better when we see each other, hon.
The one that makes me really laugh is like, when exactly, dear? Like, when the hell are these freakouts going to stop?
Yes. And then she Do I make you happy?
When you don't have to have your freakouts, yes, dear. And then
maybe
says,
you might like me better in person. By the way, I'm afraid of bugs, just so you know.
Just by the way. No, randomly.
By the way, I don't like bugs.
By the way,
well, it's random right now, but we'll also see the bugs a little later on and talk about what we think
well,
about.
then he tells her, bugs, dear, there is no reason for that. And I'll worship you either way, whether in person or from afar. Heart. Like, no, there's no reason for you to be afraid of bugs. I mean, that's unreasonable. That is totally unreasonable.
And she says, I'm just letting you know my problem. Or my phobia. Yeah. It's bugs and spiders. Separate text. I always feel like crap after I freak out because you caught me in the middle. Separate text. I can't stay even an hour away from me, you.
And spiders, that's also something harmless to you most of the time, Hans.
It's meant to be that way, dear.
And she says, it's just my fears, hon. And he tells her, so you take your little...
No, that's her.
Oh, that's her. So you take your little creepy, buggy friends and escort them out the house.
Exactly dear.
And don't worry about bugs. They're harmless.
And then it's like, okay, so we're all cool, sweetheart? Like
just separate bypass conversation.
Well, he says, well, yes, hon. It's just your freakouts that scare me, honey.
And then we have that in common.
We have that common, hon.
And he says, of course we do, dear.
That was one day. We've got
one day.
Like, how weird.
They text like they're 7th graders that have watched too much porn.
It's you. Like I was telling Colleen earlier, like after I finished reading them, I want to go take a shower. Like
that's what I told Christy. I said, I think I need 3 showers after this.
Yeah. And I mean, if you came across like 2 20-somethings, like, Colleen and her husband writing freaky text messages to each other, I'd be like, oh, I wasn't supposed to see that. But I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm grossed out. No, I'd be like, they're young, they're in love, they're happy. Right. But this is like cringy.
I told you. Well, Tim and I's text only consist of who's picking up food on the way home from work. So,
my husband and I argue about it. Yeah, that's one of our big arguments is, I don't want to get food. Are you going to get food?
So literally just an hour later, so that that's not an hour. Some of them are an hour later. So we go to the next day.
Yeah, it's the next day.
But it's the middle of the night. It's 12:40 in the morning.
Right.
So it's 12:44 in the morning, and she says, we are all lovely again, my cutie pie. I'm just saying that it was okay that we just had a weird back and forth argument all day, saying the same thing over and over again. Because it's okay now. We're all lovey.
Now they're calling each other things I've never heard them call each other. And
yeah,
that's great news.
I think it's a reference to from a movie or something, because she says, hon, I'm glad you, he says, hon, I'm glad you picked up on that reference.
Oh, okay. So she says, that's great news, my L, heart, smiley face. And she says, aw, my dear Carl. And then it's meet me on Facebook, my love. And then, yeah, he says, I'm glad you picked up on that reference.
And then a little nice job, cap up. I knew you would catch on to it, dear. Darling, will you tell me the movie you want to watch with me yet? Oh, the same one.
Oh, the same one I have as a surprise. No, dear, it's a surprise.
Oh. Really? OMG. Do you have it?
No, we'll buy it together, sweetie.
Okay,
and then
hon.
Okay,
oh,
sorry.
No, okay, hon. Oh, if I show you a YouTube clip of a TV show, would you tell me if you would watch it with me, hon?
He says, well, I'd have to see the clip first, dear.
Watch this trailer of show. Are you going to watch it?
And that's all that we have for that day, that's just riveting, I'm sure. So now we're up to Friday, May 29th, 2015, and it is 1:20 a.m. and she starts off the conversation, "Hey, handsome," and he says, "Hey, gorgeous." And then out of nowhere,
Oh, this is so gross.
drool. I'm sorry, I can't laugh. I have to stop. Drool makes you horny, laughs out loud. You're weird.
Baby, you'll understand when you experience it. Heart.
Heart.
No, at 8:20 p.m., she says to him, "Darling, I'm safe." Long story, but tornado warning was issued. And he says, "That's good news, dear." And then she tells him, "Can you please, darling, can you please meet me online? We need to talk about our plan."
Okay, honey. Then she says, "I'm still daddy's girl. Hold me. And yes, it's Kitty, daddy."
He says, "Baby, why didn't you answer daddy before?" And then in quotes, "as I hold you in my lap."
"I was taking tummy med to make me feel better, so I put my phone down." And
that's the end of that conversation. Strange as it is.
There is the lack of words.
And then it says, and then it goes on to May 30th, which, okay, so those were leading up to midnight, basically. So,
yep.
So they started off around 8 o'clock. They started talking leading up to midnight. And then she comes back with, he comes back with, I'm sorry. "Okay, honey, just never change on daddy, because I never want you to be anything but daddy's everything, as I rock you back and forth in my arms on my lap." Like, this is
creepy. "I won't change, daddy. Asterisk. I curl into your shoulder and cuddle. Asterisk."
And then he says, "I keep rocking you back and forth in my arms on my lap. Are you my same daddy's girl that I reminded you of being in the past year?" So obviously this is some role playing that they're doing here, and trying to act out some sort of scene. I don't know. Then nothing happens for several hours. And we come back,
"Hey, baby. Darling, does your house have any kind of car? I'm looking on Google Maps."
And so this is.
He says, "Dear, it depends on how updated their world map is. Last time I looked, it wasn't the right vehicle." Now, this is the next few are like really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, these are, and to be interesting too, these are at 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the sexy talk finished at midnight, and they went to bed or whatever. And now at 3:30 in the afternoon, this is where we're at with this. Does the house have a car? Are you looking on, you're looking on Google Maps? So.
And she says, "Wow, it's a small place, LOL." "Yeah, it's small to a degree. I looked at the population and it's smaller than the smallest town I've lived in. I thought 7,800 was small." Like I said,
it used to be a village, now it's a town. And Gypsy replies, "I'll adjust, LOL." And that's what makes me laugh. Like, she's just this worldly woman, and she has to adjust to this little small town to be with him.
I'll adjust.
Right, and then he says, "Well, besides, smaller, less trouble."
That's her.
No, that's him.
Mm-mm.
No, that's her.
Oh, is it her?
Yeah,
okay, well then she
smaller, less trouble.
So besides smaller, less trouble, I guess it's less trouble than murdering people. So I mean,
yep.
and
less people to murder.
I hope so, because it should be easy. It should be easy one to transcend to, hun.
Are you ready? Like, in all ways, hun? That's her. Are you ready? Like, in all ways?
Yeah, and then he says, "Well, what do you mean, dear?"
For me? If I wasn't, I wouldn't be so eager to be living with you, dear. She says this is where it gets really weird. I was supposed to get pregnant in a week and a half.
And he says, okay, hun, so what are you saying?
I just feel sad I'm not.
Oh, I see, hun.
Part of me is really worried about my tube. What if I could have it taken out being pregnant?
You said you would have it taken out.
Could you wait like 10 months for plan B?
So you want me to get you pregnant again?
I'm getting it changed, hun.
Oh, because for a second I thought you wanted me to get you pregnant again, dear.
I just was wondering, does Big Ben have a hospital? Besides, I'm late on my period.
No.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha. Let's move to Milwaukee. We can stay with your mom for a little.
Milwaukee.
No, Fancy, you gotta say this part.
Oh.
Why?
Just say it.
Milwaukee. I'd rather be living in Waukesha, hun.
Oh, you said it right.
Why?
Because I asked her earlier, I'm like, what's the proper way to say it again? Because I always forget.
Waukesha.
And she's like, yep, it's not Waukesha.
It's Waukesha. She says, okay, darling, we can look up apartments in Waukesha. And with the $5,000 I have, we will be set.
Yeah,
Good
the
idea,
light
dear.
with that 5,000.
Yes, and it's a good idea, dear. That's great. I mean,
5,000. Okay, you're getting like 3 months, including food.
Right. So then she says, I don't need to marry you to live with you, so we can take our time with the wedding.
I saw Waukesha looks beautiful, and I could paint and sell my art.
That one made me laugh. Like Gypsy was an artist.
Yeah, she does. She paints. She painted those things, like the one of her in a princess thingy that they have.
Oh, she did that?
Yes, those are.
I didn't know she did that.
Yeah, those are her paintings. But here, I love his answer here. Dear, I know that, but you mean our $5,000, true baby. And
yes,
goes, yes, our darling. Yes. Like,
and who knows, maybe after a while we can have a ceremony like a wedding, hun. You would make a handsome groom.
Oh, this is a cute, this is an interesting. Yeah. We'll live in my birth city, hun, heart. Hopefully live close to Woodman's so we get our groceries extremely cheap, dear heart.
Okay, Woodman's is a wonderful grocery store.
Your mother.
Woodman's is wonderful. That's not a plug. I just shop there and they have everything ever.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, we're just going to offer and live in my birth city.
I know if I ever want to murder anybody, I can go live in Waukesha and get my groceries cheap.
Waukesha, and then she goes on to say, Waukesha would be a dream come true, sweetheart.
Oh yeah, everybody who lives in Waukesha will tell you that's not. This is like that's not the dream city, y'all.
And then, hun, we're still going to follow our traditions, though, dear heart. And she says, of course, darling. So again, he's talking, BDSM and
vampires and princesses.
Vampires and princesses and BDSM.
I look forward to cuddles. I dreamt about it.
And you gave me oral sex.
Oral sex. Cuddles and oral sex. That's all anybody wants. Okay, so you scroll a little further down. Now, mind you, this is 7:47 at night.
Will you give me my first orgasm soon, my love? Will you finger me on the bus? I desire to pleasure you too, hun. And then
he says, hun, I may be naughty on the bus. Just depends on the moment. Depends on how naughty, hun. Heart.
And she says, well, I'm going to touch you and I'm going to kiss you everywhere.
Dear, I may give you permission. Heart. Winky face.
Good, darling. Smiley face.
As for the kissing, you can do that on my body, sweetie.
Okay, and here, the first movie I want to watch with you is 50 Shades of Grey. I also think we should start with soft, wet anal sex before big time anal.
Now this is Gypsy.
Yeah, that is Gypsy. Yep, that's you should start with a soft anal, and before going full anal. That's your no, that's not how it works.
And then before they take it to Facebook to talk more, he says, "Dear, I'll watch that with you to get us in the mood, which depends on the time. It could be a later movie, dear. And as for anal, don't worry about that because it's my job as your master too, dear." And she says, "You make my girly parts tingle."
I'm glad I do because I'm supposed to, hon.
And then she tells him she's thinking of him in a naughty way.
And he says, "That's good," with a heart.
I'm going to need 3 more showers.
Yeah.
And you know, okay, here's the thing. I don't find any of this wrong if it were a regular conversation. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of the things that we're discussing here. You know,
it's only strange because these are 2 emotionally stunted adults having this conversation, and it makes the dynamic like so strange.
It does.
It's creepy.
Right.
Just imagine visualizing these 2 characters doing this in the context that they're living in.
Well, and you know, you think about it, but here's the thing. Like, looking at these messages, the first time I saw them, and for the first couple of years that I had them and looked at them, I saw them as really creepy in a way of like, oh, that's really juvenile while still being mature, which is what I said earlier, right? But then you think about them in terms of now that we've seen the interrogation video and what she's like now, like these fits don't stop. She still does these fits. And you think about the interrogation video and how aware she really was with what she was saying, especially that last few minutes where she's asking, you know, for the lawyer eventually, you know, and she has put it all on Nick and everything. And you go back and you look at these texts and it even makes them worse. Like,
yeah,
because all this, you know, and then looking at the conversation that Nick has with those girls and thinking about these text messages, I mean, it just gets weirder and freaking weirder. And they're just, this is truly disturbing because here we are, these 2 are plotting a murder for 2 years, but then they'll just randomly throw in soft anal sex. Like,
it's bad in the context. And like I told Christina earlier, the only person in this whole case scenario that tells the truth is Nick. Nick pretty much just says what's on his mind whenever.
Yeah, I mean, there are times that he has lied. We've caught him in some things.
But he doesn't try to protect his image.
No.
Like, that's my thing. Everyone else in this case has stretched things, twisted things a little bit, so it would protect how they look. But Nick just doesn't care. He'll talk to you about his personalities, what he would do if he was there. Oh, I'll do the murder. I would do it again. I would just do it different. Right. So he's honest in that way where doesn't hold back anything and just says it. Like, oh yeah, I did the murder. I do it again too. I just do it differently this time.
Right.
Like it's nothing. So I do agree with that. Like he is the only one that you get a little bit of that.
Because I mean, our relationship did not fall apart until really, with Gypsy, it started off with when I started to question her not current, I mean, they're broken up now, but at the time it was the current relationship with the fiance and his motives. And I was concerned for her and I wanted her to have one thing normal in her life. And she didn't, you know? And so that was the beginning of us having a problem, but it didn't get real nasty until I got that interrogation video. And when I got that interrogation video, and I think that their idea was that I was never going to get that. And I really, truly believe they didn't want me to get it because they knew it would change my mind. It would change the team's mind and it would change America's mind. And me releasing that video is what caused the family, Gypsy, everybody to turn on us, because we had been promising that the whole time, that we were going to do truth, no truth, all truth. That's it. We weren't going to sugarcoat it like anyone else. And then when I actually did that, they lost their minds. And I mean, reading these text messages, it's the same kind of thing. Like you said, she wanted a specific image. She did not want any of this out there. She wanted a very specific image of who she was, and the family wanted a very specific image of who she was. But Nick did not. He has stayed true to who he is this whole time.
Yes.
His interrogation video compared to her interrogation video, that's where I see the, he's just telling me, he's like, yeah, I did it. She asked me to do it. I did it.
Right.
All right.
And she goes on to say that, so we're on May 31st now. So we're only a couple days into this. And, she basically tells him that you're a great daddy and thank you for doing the worst for the best of us. It just goes on and on and on and on.
Well, they've been together for 2 years. And so then she's asking about his interests, what movies he likes, what music he likes.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's it's almost like, because shouldn't you have had this conversation 2 years ago? Like,
especially
I like country, you like heavy metal.
Like, especially before you decide you're going to murder somebody.
Yeah. No, they just don't know basics. And she said, on May 31st in the morning, good morning, my love of my life. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to start wearing a ring because I want to feel married to you. So one of my rings from the girly shop, Claire's, will do.
And this text rang off like a bell because this is exactly what we saw when she got into the relationship with Ken, and it was the friend in prison who was getting divorced and gave Gypsy her wedding ring, and Gypsy was wearing it so that she could feel married.
Right. And then she got in trouble for it because she took pictures in it, not thinking, and she's not allowed to have that, and she got in trouble. And that didn't matter to her. Like, it was more important for her to feel close to the man that she was going to marry.
And here's like a little creepy
by wearing
message.
Another people's ring.
So she tells Nick, I need to tell you a secret, hon. I never stopped sucking Pediasure from a baby bottle.
And then, of course, he has to come back with, well, I already knew that. Because here's his psychic part, and she's like, how? And he's like, serious, baby girl, seriously. Do you not understand that I am with you spiritually? I experience everything with you, dear heart. That's why there is no point in hiding things from me. And then she asks, are you with me when I'm naked?
And then I'm going to church.
Going to church, hon.
2 minutes later.
Yep. With me when I'm naked. And I'm going to church now. And then she says,
when she comes back from church, it seems like, I guess while she was at church, she was contemplating the decision of the murder, because she comes back at 7:37 p.m. and says, darling, I'm 100% with the plan.
What do you mean?
I'm in for it, hon. No doubts.
Okay, darling. That's all. Just okay.
I was expecting, I don't know, joy, I guess.
Of course, so I'm happy.
Gypsy was angry because I guess Nick was supposed to be like, yay, we're going to murder somebody. You're in it with me, babe. This is great.
Yay. Jump up and down. Yay.
Like, it just, okay. Well.
So he says, dear, of course I'm happy.
Okay, good, sweetie. What's your stepdad's name? Just so I know.
Charlie.
That is what it is, hon.
Okay.
Okay, and so then, I mean, on June 1st, I don't know what happens here. We don't have what's before this. Is this her?
But this is like a wild ride here. This is her. The first message is her. And she says, so you won't end this.
I'm not saying.
He comes back with, I'm not saying anything besides the waste of time.
Get your ass back now.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to rip you a new one.
And that's Gypsy speaking.
Right.
Yep.
And he says, that's not worth it. I always fight for us. It's your turn for once.
Me, how the hell am I going to fight if it's one-sided? What will I wear to impress your folks? I'm going to go with you, God damn it.
That's about 36 minutes later.
Right. So how the hell am I going to fight if it's one-sided? Then 30 minutes later, she asks, well, what will I wear to impress your folks? And then he's like, I'm going to go with it. God, go with you. God damn it.
Nope, that's her.
No.
It's her. Yeah.
Yeah.
She just responds to her own message.
What will I wear to impress your folks? I'm going to go with you. God damn it. 1 minute later.
Like.
Says, I told you I'll let you know in person. Why do you say it that way?
I'm me again. I'm sorry.
So I guess she went into a different personality there? Is that what that meant?
I guess. And then he says, dear, you gave me another scare. Okay, well, good night, hon.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Do you know?
Come on, baby. I know you can bond with me better than that. I love, adore, and worship you, my dear true love.
I just did it online at the same time. I didn't mean it when I called life with you trash.
And then it's, dear, it's about the sex. Like I told you before, the sooner I give you an orgasm, the sooner you go back to your lovey-dovey happy self, hun. Heart. But I just said it back to you, sweetie. Heart. Please say it back, sweetie. Heart.
So sex is like a tranquilizer, LOL?
Baby, someday you'll know how important it is in our life. Heart.
Just forget all I said tonight.
Why do you say that?
I never meant any hurtful thing. I'm in self-destruction mode. When I'm like that, ignore me.
Well, all I do is hope you come back, honey.
I want to be with you.
And then he says, I know, dear, you scared me, though I thought I lost you. And she says, you almost did. And then I think I'm bipolar. What? Baby, I don't want to lose you, though. And you told me that I couldn't ever lose. Now I worry I will. Well, it's more, I would push you away until you walked away. I can't leave, but I can't make you leave. And he said, baby, is that supposed to be comforting?
In a way.
In a way, yes, hun. And then he's like, please don't push me away too hard, hun.
Is it a medication for bipolar, hun? Baby, if I did let you take medication for that, are you thinking it would help? Oh, massive migraine. I'm not sure if it could be the distance. Because I would have jogged for Wisconsin that night I met you. Are you saying that it will get better once we're in person? Yes, darling, that's exactly what I'm saying. If I still have mood swings, just not severe ones like tonight. Baby, please don't say it, because I'm worried still, and it would be nice to be comforted right now. And Gypsy says,
sweetie, please don't be worried. I'm not going anywhere. Well, I'm going with you, but I mean, I'm by your side, hun. The ups and downs will balance out with us being together in person. You know what I want to do after tonight's scare, hun.
Have sex, LOL? Nudges your arm. Baby, do you remember the tangled posts I gave you a while ago? Of course. You want to hit me with a frying pan? What?
I want to do that, right, just so I know you aren't going anywhere. Yes, the tangled post when both tied each other up. I wish I could just so you would be stuck with me. You are with a little red string. Heart kisses your forehead.
We are it's so
our souls and hearts.
And
but now,
yeah,
go ahead, Colleen.
Yep. June 1st at 3:22 in the morning. When do these people sleep? Is also my other question. It's like they sleep for 2 hours at a time and then text each other weird things. He says, honey, I'm warning you though. You ever give me a scare like that in person, I will tie you up until I'm sure you aren't going anywhere. Because I want to make sure we're never apart. damn clingy, so clingy.
Super creepy. Like it puts the lotion on its skin again, or else it gets the hose again. I mean, this is so effing creepy. And
And
then
she said, I won't do it in person. You're all I would have in this life.
Hi.
So it's just this really strange.
And then she comes back at 1 o'clock and she basically
twisted fairy tale.
Go ahead, Christine. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I said there's no. I know I keep saying it, but it's like it's just this sick, twisted fairy tale that they're playing out.
I don't know. It's something. I mean,
It goes from like Colleen said earlier. I think a mixture of like Romeo and Juliet, and like some weird Twilight, like vampire thing or something.
Bella and Edward, and
then add some porn in there.
And some 50 Shades of Grey, and hey, we'll call it a day. And then she comes back at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, basically, and she just says, I got rest and I'm back to myself again.
And then 12 hours later, she texts him, I'm 100,000% in, hun. I'm ready, truly. Why you say that, baby? Because I finally allowed myself to accept you're my everything. I will go with you and live our dream.
He says, okay, hon.
Darling, I'm so sorry about last night. You're completely different. I'm completely different. I'm your woman. Okay, dear.
And then he says, okay, dear. And she says, I will truly be your everything. I know I've been up and down, but darling, in 9 days, I'm yours forever. I mean,
true.
Oh God. Oh my God. The mood swings in this is just, I mean, okay, so we got to fast forward here some because we could go on forever with this.
Yes.
I mean, and we're going to include the whole thing in our Patreon. It's not like it hasn't been out there before. It has, but these ones are all in order, so you can see the back and forth.
They fight again on like June 2nd. They just keep fighting.
Right. There's
and
more
then
fighting,
more
back and forth, more craziness. And basically he threatens to kill himself at one point in time, and it all goes to caps.
It's just like a constant pattern of manipulation back and forth on both ends.
It's just unending. And let's see. So let's get down here closer to the end here. Starts at 12:02 a.m. and they're laughing about something. You know, and then he's like, would the sweetheart like a sweetie? And she says yes. And then he tells her to ask daddy politely. And he says, may I have daddy's sweetness? Or she says, may I have daddy's sweetness, please? And this all starts at midnight. And then he tells her, oh, this is gross. Yes, you may, dear, but once you taste it, you won't want anything. You'll be so addicted to it, darling. Like,
I'm fine with being daddy's little addict.
Yeah, it's just,
gross.
And then she laughs, and he doesn't understand why she's laughing, so then he gets mad at her.
And then they're just excited that he's on his way.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of times where if she goes more than like 20, 30 minutes without a response, he's like, well, I guess you're busy. I guess that means you're too busy to keep me company. And it'll be like a few back-to-back text messages until she finally answers him back. And once he arrived, it happened again where she had to like reassure him again. So it's a lot. You see a lot of patterns with them throughout all the text messages where it's a lot of neediness. It's a lot of back and forth, trying to keep the person there. And, you know, that little guilt trip of, well, I'm going to walk away and you'll be free from me now because obviously you don't feel the same way about me as I do and you're not as excited about this. It's just a lot of strange patterns between them when you read these messages.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Right, and so at 5:36 a.m. on June 9th, he arrives in Springfield. And so she tells him, oh, I was asleep, because she doesn't answer him for about half an hour.
And then he starts talking about how broke he is. Like he's barely gonna be able to make it, and how much money it costs. And it's like, I'm sorry that you had to spend some money that she mailed you, most likely. to stay at this hotel for you to murder her mother. Like, I don't know why this is the important part.
Yeah.
And so they just talk about money for a bit. And then she talks about his mom a little bit. She said, "Tonight, hon, your mom is like pissed and worried. Call her. She messaged me to get you to call her now."
And then he basically tells her he already talked to her. Everything's fine. But she needs to answer some question. And she's like, well, I'll text you. We are doing this tonight, hon. It won't be until later, like in the AM time. So get your rest, darling. Wow.
And then he asks about if he should get the hotel room for the next night, and she tells him that because then they're gonna have more money by then, so it's okay to get pay for the hotel room for the next night.
Right, because she's just gonna take it from the stash at the house.
Yeah.
And then what about sneaking you in, dear? I will. Like, no one's really monitoring who's really staying in that hotel room. Like,
I mean,
bring in
that's
a
just
prostitute.
an experience. Like, they don't realize that when you pay for a hotel room for a night, it doesn't mean you're paying for one person. It can be a husband and wife, a couple, friends, a family. So, and that just shows like they don't really know anything about how the world works. They think that only one person is allowed to stay in a hotel room, and if someone else comes over there, you have to sneak them in.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, these are the texts that lead up to the murder. And so in our next section, we'll read a few more of these and then we'll kind of get into the murder.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back.
What if you could be a true crime detective right from the comfort of your own home? Dispatch is an interactive serial mystery that unfolds over several months. Imagine the experience of an escape room in your own home, a new kind of escape called Dispatch. It's a subscription box that is a step apart from everyday entertainment, better than a book, more engaging than television. Think of it as an immersive mystery where you wear the detective hat. The story begins with the first delivery, or dispatch, if you will. In it, you'll find physical clues that lead you to the web and back to the real world to unravel a mysterious crime. Grab a friend, the whole family, and your thinking cap, and get ready to put your heads together for one mind-bending ride, as additional details are revealed with every package. Check out the description for a special link to grab your dispatch box today and start your own true crime detectiving. We absolutely love hearing from our listeners, and we'd like to invite you to send us a question for us to answer or a case you'd like us to cover. You can do this in two different ways. You can send us a message right here at anchor.fm/truecrimewives, and we might play it live in one of our next episodes, or you can drop us an email at goodwivesdish, that's DISH, @gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. All right, so before we get into the actual text messages of the murder, there's a few things that we skipped over. Let's see. There was Gypsy asking to meet up with a man and have sex before they leave town. Now, we have found out recently that was supposedly the gentleman that she met at the con that was much older, and that's who she was asking to have sex with. Now, it's been many speculations as to whether that was part of their BDSM thing or that was just a Gypsy thing. We'll never know because neither one of them is going to tell the truth on that, I can guarantee you. We've got the sacred words. Christina, do you have those?
1 second.
I can't scroll up that far right now. It's 0838. and 0842.
08. I'm getting there.
Yeah, guys, there's a lot. And we'll be like, oh, there's like 200. No, there's 400 pages of 2 pictures per page.
Well, and that's after they've been sorted. The original document was thousands of pages long.
Yeah, it's no, several phones worth of text messages.
I don't know. It's
to me, actually, I can't believe the workout these people did on their hands, because this is the letters to numbers. So
yeah,
ABC is on. You have to press 1 to get to C.
And the rapidness of these
1 to 2 minutes is the like usual average. So literally, fingers are on fire.
Yeah, I mean,
well, with sacred words, they were discussing the confirmation number for the hotel and the card it was purchased with and stuff like that. And Gypsy told him they can look that information up. And Nick responds, okay, baby, I was hoping you would have said our sacred words, but thanks for your help, hon. She says, you're welcome, my love. And then she follows up with, in all caps, I love, adore, and worship you, my everything.
That's
and
their
he
sacred
responds in all caps, I love, adore, and worship you too, my everything, times infinity.
Yeah,
now, that's not the first time we've seen those words in messages that he has written. He talks about Gypsy being his one true love and that he's never felt this before or after. That's not true, because in the messages that he did from prison to emails to Dawn, he says some of these same things.
Oh, yes. And we see that again with the twin flame.
The twin flame, the my everything, the sacred words, this is a pattern with
love, worship, obey.
Love, worship, obey. Yeah. And we'll get into those emails in later episodes, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. So then the day before he arrives, she goes and has her feeding tube changed, because she's concerned about it.
And she goes with her mom,
mm-hmm.
and the app portrayed like her feeding tube around there was red, and she's like, oh, this could be a bonding moment before I kill her. Like, so she is knowing, like, he's at the hotel, he's in Springfield, this is gonna happen. But she goes and plays the mother-daughter perfectness to the doctors to get her feeding tube changed, which that mentality is sick.
Yeah, because when she comes back, she tells Nick that she made peace with her mom.
Right, and then she goes on to paint her nails with her mom, and she's talking about, in the meantime, while she's painting her nails with her mom, she's also talking about the fact that, should I go with, I think I have pink, but he tells her, well, you need to do what he wants, talking about Victor, and that he expects you to look like his woman, and she's like, oh, so red? I don't know if I have red. Like, oh, it's just, you're going to murder somebody in a couple of hours, and this is the shit you're talking about.
Right, and making peace with your mom at the same time you're texting these things.
Do you think your mom knows you're making peace with her? Because I don't think your mom knows you're making peace with her.
I think she thinks you're just bonding. Yeah, stop acting
bonding
wild.
before I kill her violently.
Oh,
okay. So at 7:20 a.m. on June 9th of 2015, they begin to talk about what they need for the murder that night. And so she says, Gypsy starts off with, hun, does he require just the gloves and knife? And he responds with, hun, that side of me expects duct tape too, to muffle her.
Okay, baby, we have that. I'll pre-cut it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll pre-cut it. Like, that's good, dear. However, he expects you to give him the full roll. I will. We only have black bondage tape and Minnie Mouse duct tape. He said the Minnie Mouse duct tape, hun.
That's fantastic. So she's dying and she's getting Minnie Mouse duct tape. That's how
Happy. The happiest place on earth.
5,000-year-old vampire chose the Mickey Mouse tape over the black tape.
Going to the happiest place on earth.
500-year-old vampire chose the Mickey Mouse tape over the black tape, the bondage tape. So, I guess bondage tape probably would not have been sufficiently
I think I'm pretty sure she thinks that's electrical tape.
Yeah. And I'm thinking he thinks that that's not sufficient enough to hold her.
No.
Right. So then
he
she
understood.
says, dear, I should ask you this before he has to. Is your mom a light or deep sleeper?
Light, hun. Okay, dear. Now he's excited.
Like, don't you think that would have been something you would have discussed already, though? I mean, again, this seems so strange.
So, like, they're so in-depth. You are my love and I worship and everything. But you did not plan out this murder sufficiently despite planning it for 2 years.
2 years. So then she basically tells him she sleeps on her tummy, like I said, but light sleeper, honey. And then this shit's going to go down tonight, Ruby said. Like, and
in the same minute. That's
yes,
the same minute.
Same minute. And again, fingers on fire. And here's the thing that we have to talk about these personalities, okay? Because these personalities, it is very clear on both sides they are not real. Because they talk about them as if they're having conversations for them. Like, well, Ruby says, well, he says, well, that was my evil side you're telling this to. No, that's not how this works.
And it's not a sim avatar.
Right. And then he comes back with, well, what does she mean by that, dear? Please let me know as soon as you can, hun.
It means it all happens tonight. How does Ruby feel about it, hun? She keeps me numb in order to cope and survive, hun. Keeping me focused.
Oh.
And he says, okay, dear, I guess she seems to be learning how to deal with him slowly then, heart. And Gypsy replies, for motivation's sake, bring your A game, hun. This is life with me on the line.
Yes, hon, each part is a slow lover and learner. Maybe not Candy. And that's Gypsy. She says that she's a slow lover and learner. But not Candy. Candy's not a slow lover.
No, and then well, of course, he comes back and here it is. Well, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing. Oh.
He enjoys it. Because he's done it so many times in those 5,000 years.
So then he he says, well, why do you say that about Candy, dear? And she says, well, she loves fast, laughs out loud. And he goes, oh, so she'll attach onto him instantly, dear? Yes, I mean my dom side, dear, heart. And she goes, exactly, hun. It's just.
Okay, baby, as long as it's only to him and she would use other guys, or he will see to put her in her place quickly. That's right, hun. Good. Baby, please make sure to read that last message and answer it, please. So I think he's trying to get that confirmation on
that she's
not going to cheat on him.
Yeah, that she's only going to be with him, and that if she is with somebody else, it's in their sick, perverted, whatever they're doing. And oh my God.
So there's a pause here for a little bit, but then in the pause between his messages to Gypsy, he and Allie reconnect.
Oh, nice.
Allie messaged him, hey bro, how are you? I'm alright, hoping to see Gypsy tonight. Hoping. Sure, hoping. Oh, I thought you were going to get her. I am, sis, but it takes time though. Are you at home right now? No, I'm at a hotel in Springfield. I just got to get her in the early morning when I do, sis. Is her mom all cool with everything at this point? No, not really. Because she almost got kicked out of her mom's house. She only saved it because she still hasn't gotten done packing up her things, sis.
This makes no sense. She knows that he's going to kill her.
Hey, she's because they haven't talked in a while, so
maybe plan B worked, yeah. So, or C or.
So then there's a few more messages. He says, since honestly her relationship with her mom seems broken, since I guess those two argue every day, how does she plan on to get out of the house to go home with you? Well, you already know of her secret. She doesn't need her chair since she can walk, so she'll probably just either sneak out or something like that. Oh, I see. That's it. That's... I don't know if she's forgotten the plan. He told her she was going to kill her.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, like you said, they haven't talked in a while, so maybe plan A worked. I don't know.
She's probably just going to sneak out or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. You just talked about you're going to bondage her up with some Minnie Mouse tape.
Right.
That's...
So we're back at 8:00 at night, and he's checking on her, and basically they miss each other. And then this is where his manipulation plays in. Well, I guess you didn't have time to answer me. This night is going by so slow. Oh, I'm preparing, she says. And he says, oh, I see. And
talk to you later,
I guess. I say this because you're obviously busy.
Oh, well, okay, baby. And he's like, why the laughter? I don't get it. No explanation, I see. Today is really falling apart. Wow. Obviously, you're not as lonely without me as I am without you, because you're not truly communicating with me, and you have no clue how painful it is to me, or you wouldn't be laughing at me.
And she responds with, darling, I'm getting naked in the tub. I was only excited.
I'm not laughing with you at you. I'm just happy. I'm in the tub, hon. Sorry, dear. I guess I'm just missing you too much. It's overwhelming me.
Go, Christina.
She responds 1 minute later with, I left the gloves outside the front door, and the screen door is squeaky, so try to open it just enough to get in and close it gentle. I miss you too soon, sweetheart. I'll hand him the knife and duct tape inside, darling. It's pre-cut and ready. Does your mom know about me going back with you, hon?
Dear, you're telling me all this to my evil side since he has the one agreed to do it. Dear, I was open to her about that a long time ago, and she is letting me make life decisions by myself with you, hon. She trusts me.
Well, that was bad. That was bad. Bad.
Don't make life choices.
Don't make life choices. And she should not trust you. Good Lord.
She doesn't know the full dear / full plan. Full plan dear.
Those are different texts. It's She doesn't know the full dear. Full plan. Full plan dear.
Well, if you listen to the guy who read these during the trial, it was like, oh my God, that he had to read this out loud all day.
All day.
So now he's asking if her floor squeaks, and she tells him no, it's all carpet, and then she says, tell him my private parts are shaved. Okay, baby, he's excited to do this. What about the rest of your bottom half? Is it what he had me ask you? I mean, this is just,
gross. I will do my legs as soon as he knocks, hon. Look, what do you mean you're going to, shave? Why didn't you shave your legs before?
I don't know.
What did 1 hour difference make?
Well, I mean, I guess she had to be doing something while her mom was screaming out being murdered. I mean, that's natural. I guess
she's in the bathroom.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Can you imagine shaving your legs while somebody is screaming in the other room?
No, yeah, that's.
I mean, my kid can't even come in the bathroom at the same time that I'm in the shower without me, while I'm freaking shaving my legs without me tearing a freaking whole piece of my leg off. How is she gonna freaking do this with some woman that is her mother screaming in the other room while she's brutally murdered?
I'm imagining it as if like a symphony of screams, and she just is enjoying the scream.
I mean, this is really, really evil. I mean,
very evil.
And when I said, I was just telling Colleen, when I first saw these, I was so pro Gypsy that they did not, I don't know, they didn't register with me the way they are right now. I mean, literally right now. because I've looked at them a couple of times, but in the aftermath of everything that's happened, reading them right now as we are right, as it is right this second, with reading them all in sequential order like this, and thinking about everything we know today, these are super scary. And the fact that she is only doing 10 years and coming out into society after this,
it's frightening.
That's scary.
Because it's the infliction of how you say
She
words.
has absolutely no remorse for this. None.
Nope. And then, so she says, I'm going to shave her legs when he knocks. She says, okay, baby, don't be alarmed if he speaks. Because, yes, it sounds evil, hun.
And we've talked about that. Dawn has talked about that he would talk to her sometimes with this growl, and Gypsy's talked about it too. And here's the thing. I think that that's made up, like, from, if you see his YouTube videos, which they are online, there's some videos of his that are online where he's like doing stuff to this music that he listens to, which is, he doesn't listen to just heavy metal. He listens to like Megadeth metal. And that is very common in there. So I believe that he's taking that like growling and type of style and putting it into this persona that he's creating.
Yep.
So
then at 9 o'clock, she's like, I'm going to go eat. That's cash.
He's like, well, that's daddy's good girl, because, that's good. You're eating. That's fantastic. And then she talks about doing her nails, which we already talked about,
And did he say he expects you to look like his woman should? So that's a good idea, darling. Red fingernail polish, hon? Dear, to please him, I suggest you wear red lipstick too, hon. Heart, I'm just trying to help you out, baby. Like, what do you mean you're just trying to help her out? She has pink lipstick on.
If you want him to be a magnet to you, then wear it, dear, for the pink lip gloss. I mean, this...
I'm painting him dark pink, hon. It goes with my pink boots. Like, magnet. It's gross. It's so gross.
And then, he's like, he asks her, how is she going to present herself to him? She doesn't answer. So then he's like, you need to answer this question, as long as you answer it. And then he's like, you still haven't answered this question. I'm still waiting. And then she finally just comes back with, oh, I'll just be in my nightgown with painted pink nails and lip gloss.
Mm-hmm. Okay, dear.
Okay, dear, but when... You want to do it?
No, you do it, Christina.
He says, okay, dear, but when he gets you from the bathroom, I suggest you are naked when he sees you after the deed.
Okay, darling. Like, yeah, okay.
Okay. I won't say goodnight online because I want to say it to you in person. That's understandable, darling, along with our first real goodnight kiss, sweetie. Exactly, Daddy. Aw, that never gets old when you call me Daddy, sweetie.
Okay, and here, this is really interesting text. This is a very interesting text because this is from Gypsy to him starts off with a smiley face. You should get some sleep, hun. Mom goes to bed at like 4 a.m. So mind you, all the time that she has talked about how she met with Nick online secretly in the middle of the night and everything. No. Okay, because now she's telling him that her mom goes to bed at like 4 a.m. So how was she talking to him at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning? Where the hell was her mom? What the hell was she doing? So no, I still don't believe it. And the more and more I look at this, the more and more I don't believe that. I don't believe that her mom didn't know that they were having some sort of
relationship. Yeah, no.
I mean, maybe she didn't think it was Nick. Maybe she lied and told her it was somebody else. But no, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah, the times are literally all over the place. It's literally 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. like random times.
In all of these that we have, there's only one time where Gypsy says something like, I got caught using my phone, but I convinced her that I was dialing her number or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after is when she says she was made to sleep outside with the bugs.
Right.
So I think maybe it was becoming too much, because you see, if you look at the times, they were constantly texting, and this is without the Facebook messages. This is without the dating site. So did Dee Dee confront her and say, this is too much, this is not what we agreed to? And they had a fight, and that's how she ended up sleeping outside?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Or maybe sleeping in the shed in the little toddler bed to put her back in her place and show her who's boss.
And I think that's when Dee Dee started making plans to, move. And I think that's been going on. The struggle in 2015 was real. I mean, there was a power struggle going on. You can definitely see it from everything. And I mean, going in further, so this is 10:31 p.m. and he's talking about how, hun, don't forget you got to deal with my evil side first before we have our fun. So he may wear you out, because if you forget, he is the most sexual part of me. And
he says, please don't forget that, dear. Then I wear you out even more, honey. So if she forgot,
just in case she forgot,
he's going to do it even more. And he says he understands. I'm glad you do, baby. I'll enjoy just being able to touch your silky skin. I can't wait to be with you too, darling. But if I want to wait for sex, we have all day tomorrow, just so you know, after my deal. So
now,
I think
is that the sex with the other guy?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was a deal.
That was the deal. And then, honey, our nicknames as a couple is Mr. and Mrs. Sex.
2 X's. Not 3 X's.
Not 3 X's.
Not 3. So what do you think I'm thinking, dear? I know what you're thinking, hon. You'll have me as much as you can. Darling, see, we're true to our nicknames as a couple. Because I know you won't want it any other way, honey. Right, dear? Guess you're not there, hun. Hope you're back soon. We're getting real close. We're at 2:30 in the morning now.
So then he's like, honey, you'll always look appealing to me. I hope so, hon. I'm shaking. I am nervous. I guess it's if it all goes okay. And then he says, baby, it will. And you better that not just romantic wife of mine, but also my twin flame female daughter soulmate that you were meant to be, honey. Ew, barf, barf.
Gross. Daughter soulmate. Nope.
Those are like almost the exact words that we saw in the emails with
Dawn. Yeah.
My twin flame female daughter soulmate.
Gross. Daughter should have. That's not. No.
And then she basically says, I am, daddy, just as a backup, though. If it doesn't go right, run out of the house as fast as you can, hun. Like,
if it doesn't work,
he assures her, baby, there is no other option. He is going to finish her no matter what that is, how he is.
So are we playing Mortal Kombat now? I mean, like,
yes.
Finish him. I just,
and Gypsy says, okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that.
Smiley face. And she sends it again. How's the bed?
She asks him, how's the bed?
Is it soft?
And then he's like, honey, you forgot, though. He is ruthless, and his hatred of her will force her to die, hun. I mean, it's just, you'll enjoy it, baby. What will you be wearing, hun? Something that will terrify her, hun. It's all black, and my evil side picked the full outfit, darling. Okay, darling, I just have to remember it's still you. Like, this is so sick.
Yes, just as the darkness in me, dear, just like the ruby is the darkness in you, honey.
But after we comfort each other. Yes,
after we do
very upsetting for them that Dee Dee is dead.
Yep. After we do that, sweetheart, I'll hold you like the baby girl of mine that you are. And we will be happy soon after this night, and we'll never bring it up.
Baby, we wouldn't, except for the part about us meeting, honey. Heart.
Right? What's your story? What are you going to tell people? Like, how we met? Oh, well, we met online, and then he killed my mom, and then we're good. Been together ever since.
Wow. And then again, of course, it's, I hope you answer soon, dear.
You're
I'm
confusing
me.
And then now it's the Wednesday, the middle of the night, June 10th.
Right, June 10th. And so he's basically telling her it's getting close. She tells him that she took her sleeping pill. He's trying to figure out how much money he needs. And then
tells
she
her,
says,
once you're inside the house, Gypsy says, and once you're inside the house, we stay silent. Not even a whisper until after I open the bathroom door. Okay, sir?
Okay, hun.
Probably $10.
Just all over the place. Okay, so he says, dear, never underestimate his will to kill. And also give your address so I make sure I have the right one.
Whoa, pause. Why? Make sure I have the right address. What are you gonna open up and kill some random people? Where? Why?
Well, thank God he double checked.
That's very considerate of him to not want to kill the wrong person.
But then Gypsy tells him, I just want to say this. Thank you. You're my hero, heart. And I will never, in caps, leave you. I'm staying with you for eternity. And then
until I need a lawyer because you killed my mom. And that
eternity came quickly there.
Very quickly.
And then so she tells him her address and that they say thank you. She explains that her house is the ramp and the front porch is painted white. And she says, you're welcome, my twin flame soulmate. I have said I love you. I'm at peace. I'm proud of you, sweetie, and I'm glad I could help. Will you need an anxiety med to calm you after, hun? You're the most important person to me, sweetie. You're like me. Fight for what you want and need.
Okay, so she asks him about the anxiety medication, and that is to me a good indication that she knows exactly what all of her meds do, exactly what they're supposed to be for, exactly what she does and doesn't need. Like there's
how
no
it affects her
there.
after.
In other words, there's no confusion there. She knows. She knows what she doesn't need.
I just like Nick's response.
Yeah. Dear, I don't believe in meds. In me, I seem to be immune to them, but just do what I taught you and I'll calm down if it is me. But just listen and obey my evil side and you'll calm him down within
time.
Within time.
I hope he loves me too, not just Ruby. I got pain med for my back and I exercise my legs. I'm a bit weak walking, but I'll build strength.
And then, no, you mean to say you're like daddy. It could be part of why you're a daddy's good girl, but you're more like daddy than you may realize, dear. Oh, barf, barf.
And she says, I'm not used of my weight of walking. Gravity is new, LOL.
That makes me want to punch her in the face.
Yes.
Yeah. And Nick says, I believe in you, honey, as I always have. So I know someday you'll walk completely normal.
You know, like from the bus stop, from the hotel to the bus stop, like they do, you know, perfectly normal walking there.
Gravity.
And then they talk about being bad kissers and how they need to practice kissing. And then at 1:27 a.m., Gypsy tells him, she's drifting off to sleep. Is there anything you need to know, hon?
Wow.
And as for him loving you, my evil side does, however, you must obey him without question, unless you don't know what to do. Otherwise, obey him without question, dear. And someday, he'll worship you too. Baby, we're natural at kissing. We just need time to prove it.
And then Gypsy asked, will he allow me to wet your penis before he takes me, hun? I don't know if he's going to do anal or vag. I was hoping to do anal with you first.
Like, as in she doesn't want to do it with Victor. She wants to do it with him.
With Nick, yeah.
And anal before vaginal sex. Like, clearly you don't know about sexual intercourse.
Well, then Nick says, Not that I can think of, dear, except you're letting him in the front, darling. Because at the hotel, we can go slow. Oh, Gypsy says, because at the hotel, we can go slow. Oh, and you may not need to put on the gloves because we will sink it so it's never found. And yes, front. So she throws sinking the knife in to the middle of the sex questions about if they're going to do anal.
Right, and then he just comes back with, well, when he rapes, he takes all parts of the body, so he'll most likely do anal to you, hon. And is he still going to put on the gloves, dear? Like, I mean,
so I don't get, can I put saliva on it so I don't get traumatized, hon? Like, no.
Gypsy's worried about being traumatized by anal sex after her mother's brutal murder.
Yep. That's priority.
And then he says, remember to take my words to heart, dear. Just listen and obey him without question. He won't traumatize you. But if you aren't a good girl, he will then do it. It just depends on how well you listen and obey. Oh, God.
It's nauseating.
Go time. Are you ready?
Evil. I love, adore, and worship you, my everything.
Unbelievable.
She tells him to call the cab, and he responds with the sacred words after she said them. I love, adore, and worship you too, my everything times infinity.
And will you text me when the gloves are on? She's sleeping very light. I'm here, and you get your ass to the bathroom. You open the door. Yes, sir.
I'm going now, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm going now, sir. Breathes once. Like, in the middle of her getting ready to kill his mom, she takes the time to be like, breathes once. So she's narrating her story here. Like,
yes.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
And then
that's it.
That's it. He comes in the door, and we all have our own theories on what happens after that.
Oh my God. I mean, and we're going to talk about that in the next episode. We had originally thought we would get through the murder in this one, but the text messages were just too much.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back.
Every great podcast needs a great website. Currently, our mother company, Mad Ginger Entertainment, is building their website using Bluehost. Bluehost is one of the best and most affordable web hosting platforms available. Plans start as low as $2.95 a month, and you can even integrate it with WordPress. So if you need your own website or affordable web hosting, grab our discount link in the description and get your podcast a bigger presence online at low costs.
Okay, so today I was doing research and I found something interesting about people who live in Wisconsin. Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, and instead of a French word of the day, I am going to introduce you to a word that only Wisconsin people use. And I found it very interesting because they use the word, they call a bubbler, bubbler, what I know as a water fountain. So like, you're walking down the street and you're asking somebody, where's the water fountain? And someone from Wisconsin probably thinks of, a statue with a little boy with the pee coming out of the little boy. But they call it a bubbler. And I'm like, I have no idea where it comes from. But only a Wisconsin person would know that. So the history of the bubbler is quite simple. They call it a drinking fountain, bubblers, for the same reason everyone calls Kleenex and inline skates rollerblades good branding, because the bubblers are the name of the manufacturer of who first developed water fountains. Back in the 1889, a man named Henry Buckley designed the very first water fountain, but he called it a bubbler. So that's why Wisconsin people call water fountains bubbler. I was like amazed. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Hope you have a good time. Continue listening to our podcast. We're almost done with the Gypsy case.
A lot, guys, tonight. I know these text messages are something a lot of people have been wanting to really dive into. They've kind of circulated in bits and pieces. Nobody's had this whole kind of thing to really look at everything and put it into context.
And the timelines between him and Gypsy, and then him and these other women, and how it's the same day that he is texting Gypsy about anal intercourse, and he's texting Allie that she's just going to sneak out of the house.
Right.
Like
Right.
they both knew.
I mean, this is just, when you look at it this way, and just the flippant way that they talk about all of this is, it's so gross, and it's like a bad horror movie, and it's really very, very creepy. And we've said this before. I think, honestly, if they had not gotten caught, that this would have led to much, much darker things. And this is already dark enough, but I really don't think this would have been the last of killer, natural born killers, Gypsy and Nick. I mean,
well, and it's like a NC-17 like bad horror movie.
Yeah,
because there's way too much sex.
Yeah,
way too much sex.
It's just so cheesy.
And the way that it just goes back and forth, it's just so odd. Yep, we're going to talk about this, and then, oh yeah, by the way, throw in anal sex. Oh, and hey, honey, so did you get potato chips on your way home? I mean, like, it's just,
it's that.
It is that. It's like, okay, so we're going to murder this bitch. Oh, we're going to have anal sex. And did you get potato chips? Because I had it on my list. Like, that's how absolutely ridiculous this is. So, no, by the way, I went and got my feeding tube changed while we're talking about, the gloves that you need to murder my mom and the fact that you're going to, rape me. Hey, that's fine. That's all fine.
I made peace with my mom.
I made peace with it. I'm good with it. I'm good.
It's just very, very telling how, and I know earlier in the episode we talked about how they met and the whole plan plan A didn't work out.
B and C.
It's that she originally lied to him so long and then came out with it, and then he knew in 2014 that he was going to kill her mom.
Yeah.
And he told several people, and no one felt the need to say anything. They knew who she was.
Well, we're dealing with very, disturbed people here. And that's the thing, that's one of the biggest things that I've had an issue once we really got into all this and started uncovering things, and what the family and the media has done to portray her as this very innocent, poor girl who just, killed her mom out of absolute need and everything. And while some of that is very true, I mean, she was innocent in many ways, and she did, probably taking her mom's life was kill or be killed. I get all that. But when you look at all of this, it's very dark and very demented. And I am very, I used to think that she needed less time, and now, because I didn't see how being in prison was going to do a damn bit of good for her to make her a better person or be able to assimilate into society. But now I don't think that. I think she needs every second that they can keep her away from society, and I don't really think she should come out.
Well, because it's not just Nick that's a driving force in this, as much as he's very needy too. Mm-hmm. She's a driving force. She starts some of these conversations.
She starts a lot of these conversations.
Not just about sex, but about killing her mom.
Yeah.
And she understands it. She understood the meds, what they were going to do for her. She understood that he would need to wear gloves, but then she's like, well, we're going to put the knife in the lake anyway, so.
And, it's kind of like crazy. Like, it goes back and forth between, like, a child thinking of, well, in the fairy tales, the bad person dies and everybody lives happily ever after. And then the next thing you're looking at it and you realize, oh, it's so much darker. It's more close to maybe the original Hans Christian Andersen or the Brothers Grimm kind of. Because Disney tales are happy and sweet. And everyone's happy when the villain dies and everybody lives happily ever after. And then you look at the real fairy tale, and real fairy tales are very dark and very demented and kind of scary. And that's what the being.
Cinderella's stepsisters get their feet to fit in the shoes, cut their toes off.
Right. Like Ariel, the Little Mermaid, she ends up actually becoming sea foam and she dies. So.
And it's bad. She literally thought Tangled is wonderful. This is the best.
Yeah, Mother Gothel's gonna die. I'm gonna come down from my tower and live happily ever after.
And that was life, but with a mix of porn.
Thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives.
Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get the full recipe shared tonight, inside documents and pictures from the case, bonus mini podcast episodes, live YouTube discussion, and an exclusive invitation to our discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more inside information, check us out on YouTube at Murder by Design, where we're currently talking about a few different true crime cases, from bullying murders to serial killers. We dish it all.
Have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time.